Imagine opening your pantry in the middle of winter. Outside, the ground is frozen solid, grocery prices keep climbing, and fresh vegetables are becoming harder to find. Yet, your shelves are quietly lined with food you grew yourself. That kind of profound food security does not come from planting random vegetables. It comes from a deeply intentional strategy, choosing crops that are specifically designed for long-term storage. Some stay crisp for months in a cool basement. Others miraculously become sweeter after the first frost. A few can faithfully feed your family long after the growing season has ended. The best part? Every single crop on today's list can be grown successfully in containers. Whether you have a sunny backyard, a patio, or just a quiet space filled with large pots. Today, we are counting down the 15 ultimate storage vegetables you must include in your gardening plan if you want a pantry full of homegrown food this winter. Stay until the end, because our #1 crop keeps producing year after year, making it one of the smartest, most permanent food investments any gardener can grow. Let's begin building your winter sanctuary. At number 15, Daikon Radish. Most people think of radishes as tiny spring vegetables that must be harvested within a few weeks. Daikon completely changes that perception. This long, crisp Asian radish is grown not for quick salads, but for producing large storage roots that can last well into winter when handled correctly. For gardeners who want to fill their pantry with dependable homegrown food, Daikon is one of the easiest places to start. Unlike small round radishes, Daikon needs room to grow downward. Choose a container that's at least 12 to 18 inches deep, holding 7 to 10 gallons of soil. A tall nursery pot or deep fabric grow bag works beautifully. Place it in full sun, keep the soil evenly moist, and the roots will push deep into the loose potting mix instead of becoming short and misshapen. It grows well across USDA zones 3 through 10, making it suitable for nearly every gardener in the United States. In colder climates, planting in late summer allows the roots to mature during the cool days of autumn, which dramatically improves both texture and flavor. One fascinating characteristic of Daikon is that cool weather transforms it. As temperatures begin dropping, the plant slows its growth and stores more sugars in the root. The result is a radish that's noticeably milder, sweeter, and less peppery than one harvested during hot weather. That's exactly why experienced gardeners deliberately schedule their Daikon harvest for late fall rather than rushing to pull it early. Once harvested, trim away the leaves and store the roots in a cool, humid location such as a basement, root cellar, or refrigerator. Properly stored, Daikon can remain crisp for 2 to 4 months, providing fresh vegetables long after most summer crops have disappeared. Whether sliced into soups, roasted alongside potatoes, pickled, or grated fresh into salads, it's an incredibly versatile crop. More importantly, it's one of the simplest vegetables to grow if your goal is building a reliable winter pantry from nothing more than a few well-placed containers. At number 14, carrots. Few vegetables reward patient gardeners like carrots. Freshly harvested carrots are already sweet, but the ones grown for autumn and winter storage become even better. As nights grow colder, the plants naturally convert starches into sugars to protect themselves from frost. That's why homegrown fall carrots often taste far sweeter than anything you'll buy at the supermarket. If you're planning a winter pantry, carrots deserve a permanent place in your container garden. The secret begins with the container. Carrots don't need enormous amounts of space, but they do need depth. A 10-gallon container or fabric grow bag that's at least 12 to 15 inches deep gives the roots plenty of room to develop straight and uniform. Fill it with loose, stone-free potting mix, because even small rocks or compacted soil can cause roots to fork or twist. Carrots perform well across USDA zones 3 through 10. Although gardeners in colder climates often produce the sweetest harvests by allowing the roots to mature through cool autumn weather. One of the biggest mistakes beginners make is overwatering during germination. Carrot seeds are tiny and slow to sprout, sometimes taking 2 weeks or more. The soil should stay consistently moist, but never waterlogged. Once the seedlings become established, the plants require surprisingly little attention. A thin layer of mulch helps keep the soil cool while reducing evaporation during late summer heat. Harvest timing is just as important as planting. Many experienced gardeners deliberately leave mature carrots in the ground until after the first light frost because that's when their flavor reaches its peak. After harvesting, remove the leafy tops immediately so they don't continue drawing moisture from the roots. Store the carrots in damp sand, wood shavings, or perforated bags inside a cool basement or root cellar. Properly stored, they can remain fresh for 4 to 6 months, providing crisp, nutritious vegetables throughout the winter. For any gardener looking to grow dependable food that lasts, carrots are one of the smartest investments a container can produce. At number 13, beets. Beets are one of the few vegetables that give you 2 harvests from a single plant. Long before the roots reach full size, the tender green leaves can be picked for fresh salads or sautéed like spinach. Then, as autumn approaches, the swollen roots become one of the most reliable storage crops you can grow. That combination of immediate harvests and long-term food storage makes beets an excellent choice for gardeners who want every container to produce maximum value. Although beet roots grow underground, they don't require exceptionally deep containers. A 7 to 10 gallon pot with 10 to 12 inches of depth is usually enough for healthy root development. Loose, well-drained potting mix encourages smooth, rounded roots, while consistent moisture helps prevent woody or cracked beets. They adapt well across USDA zones 3 through 10, and like carrots, they actually benefit from cooler temperatures as the season progresses. One reason beets are so beginner-friendly is their resilience. They tolerate light frosts, recover well from changing weather, and rarely demand complicated care. Avoid excessive nitrogen fertilizer, which encourages large leafy tops at the expense of the root. Instead, focus on balanced nutrition and steady watering throughout the growing season. Every few weeks, harvest a handful of the outer leaves while leaving the center intact so the roots continue developing beneath the soil. When the roots reach about 2 to 3 inches in diameter, they're ready to harvest. Brush away loose soil, trim the greens to about an inch above the root, and store them without washing in a cool, humid location. Properly cured and stored, beets remain in excellent condition for 3 to 5 months, making them one of the most dependable vegetables for winter meals. Whether roasted, pickled, boiled, or added to hearty soups, beets provide rich color, outstanding nutrition, and a reliable source of homegrown food long after the garden has gone dormant. At number 12, turnips. Turnips are one of the most underrated vegetables in the garden. Many people see them as an old-fashioned crop, yet they've been feeding families through long winters for centuries. What makes turnips so valuable isn't just the root, it's the fact that every part of the plant is edible. While the roots are quietly growing beneath the soil, the leafy tops provide fresh greens throughout the season. By the time autumn arrives, you've already enjoyed multiple harvests before lifting the roots for winter storage. For gardeners looking to maximize every container, few vegetables offer this much value. Turnips grow surprisingly well in containers. A 7 to 10 gallon pot or grow bag, at least 10 to 12 inches deep, gives the roots plenty of room to develop into smooth, firm bulbs. They perform best in loose, fertile potting mix that drains well while holding enough moisture for steady growth. Turnips thrive across USDA zones 3 through 9, and unlike many summer vegetables, they actually welcome cooler weather. Seeds planted in late summer often produce sweeter, milder roots than those grown during spring because cool autumn temperatures reduce bitterness and improve texture. The key to growing excellent turnips is consistency. Keep the soil evenly moist throughout the growing season and avoid allowing it to dry out completely, which can lead to tough, woody roots. As the plants mature, harvest only a few outer leaves at a time so the roots continue storing energy underground. Many experienced gardeners intentionally leave turnips in the garden until after the first light frost because that brief exposure to cold encourages the roots to develop a noticeably sweeter flavor. When harvest time arrives, trim the leafy tops to about an inch above the root and brush away excess soil without washing them. Stored in a cool, humid basement or root cellar, healthy turnips remain fresh for 4 to 5 months. Whether mashed, roasted, added to hearty soups, or slow-cooked in winter stews, they're one of the simplest and most dependable vegetables you can grow if your goal is filling the pantry with homegrown food that lasts. At number 11, cabbage. Few vegetables symbolize a well-stocked winter pantry quite like cabbage. For generations, gardeners have relied on this dependable crop because it produces large, dense heads that store remarkably well while remaining incredibly versatile in the kitchen. Fresh cabbage can become soups, slaws, stir-fries, roasted side dishes, or homemade sauerkraut that lasts for months. One successful harvest can provide meals throughout much of the winter, making cabbage one of the smartest vegetables any food storage gardener can grow. Although cabbage develops a substantial root system, it's perfectly suited to large containers. Choose a 10 to 15 gallon container or sturdy grow bag with plenty of drainage. Give each plant enough room to develop a full-sized head without competing for nutrients or moisture. Cabbage grows successfully throughout USDA zones 3 through 9, and it's especially well suited for fall production because cool temperatures encourage tighter heads and sweeter flavor. In many parts of the country, planting for a fall harvest produces much better results than trying to grow cabbage through the heat of summer. One mistake many beginners make is harvesting too early. A cabbage head may look large, but it isn't ready until it feels firm and tightly packed when gently squeezed. Continue watering consistently during head formation because irregular moisture can cause splitting just before harvest. Applying a layer of mulch also helps stabilize soil temperature while reducing water loss during late summer. After harvesting, leave a short section of stem attached and remove only the damaged outer leaves. Healthy cabbage heads stored in a cool basement, root cellar, or unheated garage can remain in excellent condition for 4 to 6 months. Some gardeners also preserve part of the harvest by making sauerkraut, extending its shelf life even further. When winter arrives and fresh vegetables become scarce, few sights are more satisfying than pulling a perfectly preserved cabbage from storage, knowing it came entirely from a single container in your own garden. That covers our first group of fresh winter harvests. Which of these cold hardy roots are you planning to grow? Let me know in the comments below. But building a true winter pantry isn't just about storing root vegetables and leafy greens. It is about establishing a firm foundation of deep, rich flavor that will sustain your cooking through the darkest months. As we move into our next group of crops, we are shifting our focus to the essential pantry staples and heavy carbohydrates that form the comforting base of almost every winter meal. Let's look at number 10. At number 10, leeks. Leeks may not attract as much attention as onions or garlic, but they're one of the most dependable vegetables for gardeners who want fresh food well into the cold months. Unlike many crops that must be harvested all at once, leeks are incredibly patient. They continue standing in the garden through chilly weather and can even tolerate light snow in many regions, giving you fresh harvests exactly when most summer vegetables have disappeared. That reliability has made them a favorite winter crop for European and North American gardeners for generations. Fortunately, leeks grow beautifully in containers. A 10 to 15 gallon pot or deep fabric grow bag, at least 12 to 14 inches deep, provides enough space for long, straight stems to develop. They thrive in rich, loose soil that drains well while holding consistent moisture. Leeks perform exceptionally well across USDA zones 3 through 9, where they're often planted in late summer to mature during the cool days of autumn. Unlike many vegetables that slow down as temperatures drop, leeks actually improve in quality as the weather cools, developing a sweeter and milder flavor. One important technique separates average leeks from outstanding ones: blanching the stems. As the plants grow taller, gradually add soil or mulch around the lower stems, covering them little by little throughout the season. This blocks sunlight and produces the long, tender white shafts that are prized in the kitchen. Water consistently, feed lightly with compost during active growth, and avoid allowing the soil to dry completely during warm weather. When winter approaches, you don't necessarily need to harvest every plant. In many climates, healthy leeks can remain in their containers outdoors until needed, protected with mulch during severe cold. For longer storage, lift them carefully, trim the roots and outer leaves, and refrigerate or store them in a cool, humid location for several weeks. Whether added to soups, roasted alongside root vegetables, or slowly caramelized, leeks bring fresh flavor to winter meals long after the rest of the garden has gone quiet. At number 9, garlic. Few crops ask for so little while giving so much in return. A single clove planted with intention can quietly develop into a full bulb packed with rich flavor, and once cured properly, that bulb can sit in your pantry for most of the year. It's no surprise that garlic has been one of humanity's most important storage crops for thousands of years. If your goal is building a long-term winter food supply, no container garden feels complete without it. Garlic is remarkably well suited to containers. A 5 to 10 gallon pot with at least 10 inches of depth is enough for several bulbs, provided each clove is spaced about 4 to 6 inches apart. Loose, fertile soil with excellent drainage is essential because garlic dislikes sitting in constantly wet conditions. It grows successfully across USDA zones 3 through 9, with most gardeners planting cloves in autumn so the roots establish before winter. The bulbs remain dormant through the coldest months, then explode with vigorous growth as temperatures warm in spring. One of garlic's greatest advantages is how little maintenance it requires. After planting, water thoroughly and apply a generous layer of mulch to insulate the soil. Throughout winter, there's very little to do. As spring arrives, remove weeds, keep the soil evenly moist, and allow the plants to mature naturally. If hardneck varieties produce flower stalks called scapes, remove them early so the plant directs more energy into forming larger bulbs. Those scapes are also delicious, offering an extra harvest before the bulbs are even ready. After harvesting, resist the temptation to clean the bulbs immediately. Instead, hang them in a dry, shaded, well-ventilated area for 2 to 3 weeks to cure properly. Once fully cured, trim the roots and stems and store the bulbs in a cool, dry place. Good garlic often remains usable for 8 to 10 months, making it one of the longest-lasting vegetables you'll ever grow. For gardeners planning ahead, planting garlic isn't just growing next season's harvest, it's investing in nearly a year of homegrown flavor. At number 8, onions. If there is one vegetable that belongs in every winter pantry, it's onions. Nearly every hearty winter meal begins with them, whether you're making soups, stews, roasted vegetables, casseroles, or slow-cooked meats. The good news is that onions are not only easy to grow in containers, they're also one of the longest-lasting vegetables you can harvest when stored correctly. For full-size storage onions, choose a 10 to 15 gallon container or a deep grow bag with at least 10 to 12 inches of soil. Planting onions too close together is one of the biggest beginner mistakes. Give each bulb enough space to expand so it develops into a large, firm onion instead of remaining small and crowded. Onions perform well across USDA zones 3 through 10, although the correct variety depends on your location. Long day onions are best for northern states, while short day varieties thrive in the southern United States. Selecting the right type for your region makes a dramatic difference in bulb size. Throughout the growing season, onions require surprisingly little attention. Keep the soil evenly moist during active growth, but avoid overwatering as the bulbs mature. One of the clearest signs that harvest time is approaching is when the green tops naturally begin falling over. At this point, stop watering entirely and allow the bulbs to finish drying in the soil for several days if weather permits. After harvest, proper curing is what transforms fresh onions into long-term storage crops. Spread the bulbs in a warm, dry, well-ventilated location for 2 to 3 weeks until the outer skins become papery and the necks are completely dry. Once cured, trim the roots and stems and store the onions in mesh bags or baskets where air can circulate freely. Under cool, dry conditions, many storage varieties remain in excellent condition for 6 to 8 months, making onions one of the most valuable vegetables you can grow if your goal is filling your pantry for winter. At number 7, potatoes. For centuries, potatoes have been one of the world's most important food crops, and for good reason. They produce an incredible amount of calories in a relatively small space. They're easy to cook in countless ways, and when stored properly, they can feed a family throughout much of the winter. Even better, potatoes grow exceptionally well in containers, making them perfect for gardeners without traditional garden beds. The secret to success is choosing a container that's large enough. A 15 to 20 gallon fabric grow bag or deep container provides enough room for multiple layers of developing tubers. Fabric grow bags are especially popular because they improve drainage and naturally air prune the roots, encouraging healthier growth while making harvest remarkably easy. Potatoes grow successfully across USDA zones 3 through 10. Although gardeners in warmer climates often plant earlier to avoid the most intense summer heat. As the plants begin growing, gradually add more soil or compost around the stems, a process known as hilling. This encourages the buried stems to produce additional potatoes while preventing developing tubers from being exposed to sunlight, which causes them to turn green and bitter. Water consistently throughout the growing season, especially once flowering begins, because this is when the tubers rapidly increase in size. Harvesting is one of the most satisfying moments in container gardening. Once the foliage naturally yellows and dies back, stop watering and allow the soil to dry for about a week. Then simply tip over the grow bag and gather the hidden potatoes by hand. After harvest, cure them in a cool, shaded location for 1 to 2 weeks so the skins toughen. Properly cured potatoes stored in a cool, dark, well-ventilated place often remain usable for 4 to 8 months. Few container crops provide as much food, versatility, and long-term value as a single grow bag full of homegrown potatoes. At number 6, sweet potatoes. While regular potatoes have earned their place as a pantry staple, sweet potatoes offer something equally valuable: exceptional storage life combined with outstanding nutrition. Rich in complex carbohydrates, fiber, and vitamin A, they're one of the few vegetables that actually improve after harvest. Give them a proper curing period, and they'll become sweeter, drier, and capable of feeding your family throughout much of the winter. Sweet potatoes thrive in containers because their vines naturally spill over the sides while the storage roots develop safely underground. Choose a 20 to 30 gallon fabric grow bag or large nursery container with at least 16 to 18 inches of soil depth. Loose, well-drained soil is essential because compacted soil limits root development. Sweet potatoes perform best in USDA zones 8 through 11, But gardeners in zones 5 through 7 can also produce excellent harvests by planting early and choosing shorter season varieties. Unlike many vegetables that struggle during hot summers, sweet potatoes absolutely love warm weather and continue growing vigorously when temperatures climb. One common mistake is harvesting too early. Even if the vines look impressive, the storage roots continue enlarging until late in the season. Allow the plants to mature fully before digging them carefully to avoid damaging the delicate skins. Freshly harvested sweet potatoes are surprisingly bland compared to what you're used to buying, but that's exactly where curing makes all the difference. Place the freshly harvested roots in a warm, humid location, around 80 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit, 27 to 29 degrees Celsius, for 7 to 10 days. During this time, the skins toughen while natural enzymes convert starch into sugar, dramatically improving both flavor and storage life. Once cured, move them to a cool, dry room, but never refrigerate them. Properly cured sweet potatoes can remain in excellent condition for 6 to 10 months, providing one of the longest-lasting and most nutritious food supplies a container gardener can produce. We have now covered the reliable root cellars and the essential pantry bulbs. But what if you want to grow something even more permanent? The kind of crops that don't just last for a few months, but can safely sit on your shelf for years. As we enter our top 5, we are shifting our focus from fresh vegetables to the ultimate calorie-dense survival foods. These are the historic crops that have faithfully fed generations through the harshest winters. Let's dive into number 5. Dent corn. Most people think of corn as sweet corn eaten fresh off the cob during summer. Dent corn is something completely different. This is the traditional grain corn that fed entire civilizations long before supermarkets existed. Instead of harvesting it young, gardeners allow the ears to fully mature and dry on the stalk. The kernels become hard, dense, and incredibly long-lasting, ready to be ground into cornmeal, polenta, grits, tortillas, cornbread, or stored for future planting. If you're serious about producing real pantry staples, dent corn deserves your attention. Although corn is usually associated with large fields, it can be grown successfully in containers if you have a sunny backyard, patio, or driveway with enough space. The key is growing several containers together because corn depends on wind pollination. A single plant rarely pollinates well. Use 20 to 30 gallon containers or half whiskey barrels, planting several stalks in each container and arranging the pots in a compact block rather than a single row. Dent corn performs best in USDA zones 4 through 10, provided it receives full sun and consistent watering during the hottest part of summer. Unlike sweet corn, patience is essential. Leave the ears on the plants until the husks become completely dry and papery. The kernels should be hard enough that a fingernail cannot easily dent them. After harvesting, hang the ears in a dry, well-ventilated location for several more weeks to ensure every kernel is fully dried before shelling. Once completely dry, remove the kernels from the cob and store them in airtight containers or food-grade buckets with moisture absorbers. Properly dried dent corn can remain usable for several years, making it one of the longest-lasting food crops you can grow. Few container vegetables offer this combination of calories, versatility, and shelf life. For gardeners thinking beyond fresh harvests and toward genuine long-term food security, dent corn marks the point where a container garden begins producing true staple foods rather than simply fresh vegetables. At number 4, dry beans. If you asked previous generations which crop they trusted most to feed a family through winter, many would answer with one word: beans. Unlike fresh green beans that must be eaten soon after harvest, dry beans are allowed to fully mature until the pods become crisp and the seeds harden naturally. Those small seeds are packed with protein, fiber, minerals, and calories, making them one of the most valuable foods any home gardener can produce. Combined with potatoes or corn, beans create complete, nourishing meals that can sustain a family for months. Dry beans grow surprisingly well in containers. Bush varieties are the easiest choice because they remain compact and don't require elaborate trellises. A 10 to 15-gallon container or sturdy fabric grow bag provides enough room for several plants while keeping maintenance simple. If you prefer pole beans for drying, choose a larger container and provide a strong support structure from the beginning. Dry beans perform well across USDA zones 3 through 10, thriving in full sun with moderate watering. One advantage is that beans actually produce better when they're not overfed with nitrogen, since excessive fertilizer encourages leafy growth instead of pods. The biggest difference between green beans and dry beans is knowing when not to harvest. Resist picking the pods while they're still tender. Instead, allow them to remain on the plant until they turn brown, brittle, and completely dry. In humid climates, if wet weather arrives before the pods finish drying, simply pull the entire plant and hang it upside down in a sheltered, well-ventilated area until the pods are ready to shell. Once the beans are completely dry, remove them from the pods and spread them out for several additional days to eliminate any remaining moisture. Store them in airtight glass jars, sealed containers, or food-grade buckets in a cool, dry location. Properly dried beans remain edible for many years, making them one of the longest-lasting foods a gardener can grow. Few crops deliver so much nutrition from such a small amount of space, and that's exactly why dry beans have earned their place among the greatest food storage crops in the world. At number 3, butternut squash. Some vegetables disappear within days of harvest. Butternut squash is the complete opposite. Harvested at the right time and stored properly, it can sit quietly on your pantry shelf for most of the winter, ready whenever you need it. Sweet, nutritious, and incredibly versatile, butternut squash has become one of the most dependable, long-term storage vegetables for home gardeners across America. Although the vines are vigorous, butternut squash adapts surprisingly well to container gardening when given enough room. Choose a 25 to 30-gallon container, half whiskey barrel, or extra-large fabric grow bag filled with rich, well-drained soil. Provide a sturdy trellis if you're growing vertically, or allow the vines to spread across a sunny backyard patio or open space. It grows best throughout USDA zones 4 through 10, where the long-toe, warm growing season allows the fruits to mature completely before frost. One of the most common mistakes beginners make is harvesting too early. A mature butternut squash should have a deep tan color and a rind so firm that it cannot be easily scratched with your fingernail. Leave several inches of stem attached when harvesting, because this small detail dramatically improves storage life by reducing the chance of rot developing where the fruit was cut. After harvest, cure the squash in a warm, dry location for 10 to 14 days. This process hardens the skin, heals small surface injuries, and prepares the fruit for long-term storage. Once cured, place the squash in a cool, dry room with good air circulation. Never stack them tightly together, since airflow is essential for preventing spoilage. Properly cured butternut squash often remains in excellent condition for 6 to 12 months, making it one of the longest-lasting vegetables you can grow in containers. Throughout the coldest months of the year, those beautifully stored squash become hearty soups, roasted side dishes, creamy purees, casseroles, and homemade breads. It's hard to imagine a more satisfying reminder that the work you put into your garden months earlier is still feeding your family long after winter has arrived. At number 2, Rutabaga. If carrots and turnips are the dependable workhorses of the winter garden, Rutabaga is the heavyweight champion. This often overlooked root vegetable has been feeding families through harsh northern winters for centuries because it combines exceptional cold tolerance with one of the longest storage lives of any vegetable. Many modern gardeners overlook rutabaga simply because it's not as common in grocery stores, but for anyone building a true winter pantry, it's one of the smartest crops you can grow. Rutabagas need slightly more room than turnips, making them well suited to a 10 to 15 gallon container or deep fabric grow bag with at least 12 inches of loose, fertile soil. Give each plant enough space to expand because mature roots can become impressively large. They thrive throughout USDA zones 3 through 9, and unlike warm season vegetables, rutabagas actually perform their best as temperatures begin to fall. Planting in late summer allows the roots to mature during cool autumn weather, producing sweeter, denser flesh with outstanding storage quality. One of the secrets experienced gardeners know is to let rutabagas experience a few light frosts before harvesting. The cooler temperatures encourage the plant to convert stored starch into natural sugars, creating a noticeably richer flavor. Water consistently throughout the growing season, but avoid excessive nitrogen fertilizer, which encourages leafy growth instead of large storage roots. After harvesting, trim the leafy tops to about an inch above the crown without damaging the skin. Brush away loose soil and move the roots into a cool, humid storage area, such as a basement or root cellar. Under proper conditions, rutabagas remain firm and flavorful for 4 to 6 months, often lasting well into spring. Whether mashed with butter, roasted alongside potatoes, or slowly cooked into hearty winter stews, they provide dependable nutrition when fresh garden harvests have long since disappeared. Few vegetables combine productivity, cold tolerance, and storage life as effectively as rutabaga, making it one of the true stars of a winter food garden. At number 1, Jerusalem artichokes. Despite their name, they're neither from Jerusalem nor true artichokes. They're actually a species of sunflower that produces crisp, nutty-flavored underground tubers. What makes them our number 1 choice isn't just their impressive harvest, it's the fact that they may be the closest thing to a permanent food reserve a gardener can grow. Plant them once, and with minimal care, they'll continue producing year after year. Jerusalem artichokes are vigorous plants, so they grow best in 25 to 30 gallon containers, half whiskey barrels, or very large grow bags. Large containers help control their spread while still allowing the tubers plenty of room to multiply. They perform exceptionally well across USDA zones 3 through 9, tolerating freezing winters and thriving through hot summers with very little attention once established. Give them full sun, consistent moisture during active growth, and enough vertical space because mature plants can easily reach 6 to 8 feet tall. Unlike many root vegetables, Jerusalem artichokes don't have to be harvested all at once. In fact, many gardeners intentionally leave the tubers in the soil throughout winter. The cold actually improves their flavor, and whenever the ground isn't frozen solid, fresh tubers can be dug exactly when needed. That's an advantage almost no other storage crop can match. Instead of relying entirely on a root cellar, part of your food supply remains safely stored underground by nature itself. If you do choose to harvest the entire crop, store the tubers in slightly damp sand or wood shavings inside a cool basement or root cellar, where they'll remain fresh for several months. But perhaps the greatest benefit is this: no matter how carefully you harvest, a few small tubers almost always remain behind. The following spring, they'll sprout into a brand new crop without you planting another seed. That incredible combination of massive yields, reliable winter harvests, and perennial productivity makes Jerusalem artichokes one of the smartest long-term food investments any container gardener can make, and that's why they earn the number 1 spot on today's list. That wraps up our list of the 15 container vegetables that will quietly fill your pantry all winter long. Which of these reliable storage crops are you adding to your winter reserve? Let me know in the comments below, along with what gardening topics you want me to cover next. But please don't go anywhere just yet, because our masterclass is far from over. You now possess the exact blueprint to build a deeply comforting, long-term winter food supply. You have successfully learned how to secure your harvest against the changing seasons. But establishing this level of food security usually requires an undeniable amount of intentional work. Buying seeds, starting transplants, and carefully managing the growing cycle from scratch year after year. What if a portion of your garden could simply manage itself? What if you could step away from the annual chore of replanting and allow nature to automatically restock your containers for you every single spring? Right now, we are shifting our focus from winter food storage to effortless, perpetual sustainability. Let's dive directly into the 15 self-seeding vegetables that naturally drop their own seeds and return season after season, transforming your patio into a never-ending container garden. Let's look at our first self-seeding crop. At number 15, we have arugula, the peppery salad green that provides the perfect introduction to self-seeding container gardens. For most American gardeners, arugula is a source of mild frustration because it bolts or goes to seed incredibly quickly the moment the early summer heat hits the patio. Instead of getting angry and ripping the plant out of your pot, this rapid life cycle is exactly what you want to exploit. By allowing just 1 or 2 plants to produce their delicate white flowers, you set the stage for an endless, zero-effort harvest. The mechanics of self-seeding arugula in a container are remarkably simple. Once the flowers fade, they form small, slender seed pods. As the pods dry in the late summer sun, they shatter, raining hundreds of tiny seeds directly back into the potting soil below. Because you are growing in a confined container rather than a vast open yard, the seeds remain highly concentrated in one perfectly managed spot, rather than blowing away or getting lost in the lawn grass. The harvest benefits of this natural cycle are spectacular. Arugula seeds possess a brilliant biological clock. They will naturally lie dormant in the container soil during the scorching heat of July and August. The moment the cool, damp weather of September rolls in, the soil temperature drops, triggering massive germination. You will suddenly find your empty backyard pots overflowing with a dense carpet of tender, baby arugula. The most fascinating aspect of self-seeding arugula is its extreme cold tolerance. Any seeds that do not sprout in the autumn will comfortably survive the freezing winter buried in your container soil, automatically waking up to provide your very first spring salad long before you even think about buying seeds. At number 14 is cilantro, an essential culinary herb that practically demands to be grown as a self-seeding container crop. Throughout the United States, gardeners constantly struggle with cilantro because it utterly despises being transplanted and has a notorious habit of bolting into tall, lanky flowers at the first sign of warm weather. When you embrace its desire to reproduce and dedicate a single patio pot entirely to its life cycle, you completely eliminate the stress of trying to keep it alive. You simply let it do what it naturally wants to do. To create a perpetual cilantro pot, choose a deep 10-gallon container and place it in a sunny corner of your deck. When the plant inevitably sends up its lacy white flowers, leave them alone. These flowers will quickly transform into heavy, round green seeds that eventually dry into a brown crust. As the autumn breezes brush across your backyard, the plant will naturally sway, dropping a heavy concentration of seeds straight down into the rich potting mix, perfectly replanting itself for the following year. This self-seeding process offers an incredible culinary double harvest. Before the seeds drop, you can actually harvest them. Those round little spheres are coriander, a warm, citrusy spice essential for curries, marinades, and pickling. By letting the plant go to seed, you get fresh cilantro leaves for your summer salsas and dried coriander spice for your winter pantry, all from the exact same pot. The ultimate reward comes the following spring. Because cilantro seeds possess a hard outer shell, they easily survive harsh winters in outdoor containers. As the spring soil warms, they will germinate in staggered waves, providing you with a thick, continuous canopy of fresh herbs without you ever having to dig a single hole. At number 13, we have dill, the undisputed king of the summer pickling season and a spectacular volunteer plant for any patio or porch. Standard dill can grow surprisingly tall, often reaching 3 to 4 feet, which makes it a striking architectural centerpiece for a large backyard container. While many gardeners meticulously snip off the delicate foliage to keep the plant compact, the true magic of dill is unlocked when you allow it to mature and produce its massive, umbrella-shaped yellow flower heads. Growing self-seeding dill in a container requires a heavy pot to anchor the tall stalks against the wind. When those magnificent yellow umbels finally dry out, they become loaded with flat, lightweight seeds. Because the seeds are easily carried by the wind, they will not only reseed their own container, but will often gracefully drift into neighboring pots on your patio. This creates a charming cottage garden aesthetic where wispy ferns of fresh dill unexpectedly pop up alongside your tomatoes and peppers the following spring. Having dill continuously self-seed in your container garden is a massive culinary advantage. Because dill loses its pungent flavor rapidly after being cut, store-bought dill simply cannot compare to the intense aroma of freshly harvested fronds. Having a perpetual supply sprouting on your deck means you can instantly elevate your potato salads, grilled fish, or homemade cucumber pickles exactly when you need it, at the absolute peak of freshness. Perhaps the most magical biological benefit of letting your dill go to seed is its irresistible pull on wildlife. The giant flower heads are a beacon for the black swallowtail butterfly. By allowing the plant to self-seed, you turn your container garden into a vital, thriving nursery for some of nature's most beautiful pollinators. At number 12 is borage, a breathtaking edible flower that thrives as a self-seeding annual, solving a major problem for container gardeners. In a traditional open-ground garden, borage is so prolific at dropping seeds that it is often considered mildly invasive, aggressively spreading across the yard and crowding out smaller vegetables. However, when you restrict it to a large container on a concrete patio or a wooden deck, you perfectly harness its incredible reproductive energy while completely containing its spread. It becomes a permanent, self-sustaining fixture of your garden without ever becoming a weed. To successfully host borage, dedicate a wide 5-gallon pot to the plant and leave it undisturbed year-round. It will produce fuzzy, robust stems and an absolute explosion of vivid, star-shaped blue flowers. As the flowers mature, they produce heavy, hard black seeds that drop straight down into the soil below. These tough seeds are biologically engineered to survive brutal freezing temperatures, lying in wait beneath the snow to reliably germinate the moment the spring sun warms your patio containers. The harvest from a barrage pot is an absolute delight for home chefs and mixologists. The striking blue flowers are completely edible and possess a remarkably crisp, refreshing flavor that tastes exactly like a fresh cucumber. They are the ultimate high-end garnish, frequently frozen into ice cubes to elevate summer cocktails or tossed fresh into salads to add a pop of vibrant color. The greatest advantage of keeping a perpetual pot of borage in your backyard is its legendary reputation as a companion plant. The continuous blooms act as an incredibly powerful magnet for honeybees and bumblebees, ensuring that every other fruiting vegetable in your container garden is thoroughly and consistently pollinated. At number 11, we have calendula, commonly known as pot marigold, a relentless, frost-hardy flower that will effortlessly sustain itself in your containers for decades. While many patio flowers require constant deadheading, fertilizing, and replanting to maintain their color, calendula prefers a much wilder approach. It is one of the most reliable self-seeders in the botanical world, capable of transforming a single, inexpensive packet of seeds into a lifelong, perpetual harvest of brilliant orange and yellow blooms right on your back porch. Because its root system is relatively shallow, calendula is exceptionally well suited for container constraints. It thrives in standard window boxes, railing planters, or decorative shallow bowls scattered around the deck. The magic happens when the vibrant flowers dry and fall away, revealing incredibly unique, crescent-shaped seeds that look almost like small, curled caterpillars. As the plant gently shakes in the autumn wind, these heavy seeds tumble directly into the planter box, instantly burying themselves in the potting mix to prepare for the following year. Cultivating a self-seeding patch of calendula provides a massive, continuous harvest for the home apothecary. The bright petals are entirely edible, offering a slightly tangy, peppery flavor that brightens up winter soups and summer salads. More importantly, the flowers are packed with powerful medicinal compounds and are highly prized in America for creating soothing, homemade skin salves, healing balms, and botanical teas. What makes calendula an absolute must-have for the perpetual container garden is its staggering resistance to cold weather. The seeds will aggressively germinate in soil temperatures that would kill most other plants. You will often see fresh green calendula seedlings pushing up through the soil of your patio pots in very early spring, long before you have even considered stepping outside to start your gardening season. It's absolutely amazing how much time and money you can save just by letting your container garden manage itself. If you are enjoying these lazy gardening secrets and want to learn more ways to maximize your backyard harvests, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. We have plenty more space-saving tips coming your way. Now, let's move back into the countdown with a climbing flower that knows exactly how to survive the winter. At number 10 is the nasturtium, a phenomenally vibrant, sprawling plant that offers one of the most reliable self-seeding cycles for any patio or porch container. Many gardeners buy expensive flats of nasturtiums every single spring to drape over the edges of their backyard pots. But once you realize how effortlessly this plant reproduces, you will never buy it again. Nasturtiums are biologically programmed to leave a heavy, durable deposit of seeds in your container soil, ensuring an even more spectacular floral display the following year without any human intervention. The secret to the nasturtium's perpetual return lies in the sheer size of its seeds. Unlike the microscopic dust produced by many garden flowers, nasturtium seeds are massive, roughly the size of a dried chickpea. When the brilliant trumpet-shaped flowers fade, these heavy wrinkled seeds drop directly straight down into the soil of your planter. Because they are so large and heavy, they easily settle deep into the potting mix, protected by the fading autumn leaves of the mother plant. This thick natural blanket completely insulates them from the freezing winter snow. For the culinary container gardener, having a permanent pot of nasturtiums is like having a gourmet garnish on demand. Both the lily pad-shaped leaves and the striking flowers are entirely edible, delivering a sharp, peppery bite that mimics watercress. Tossing a few fresh nasturtium flowers into a summer salad instantly elevates a basic meal into a restaurant-quality dish right there on your back deck. Beyond its culinary value, the greatest benefit of a self-seeding nasturtium pot is its role as a botanical bodyguard. They are famously used as a trap crop, naturally drawing aphids away from your precious tomatoes and peppers, making them an essential, self-sustaining defender of your container garden. At number 9, we have mustard greens, the undisputed heavyweight champion of the self-seeding leafy vegetables. For gardeners looking to cultivate a massive amount of food in patio containers, mustard greens are often overlooked because they tend to bolt into bright yellow flowers when the intense heat of early summer arrives. However, by allowing these resilient plants to complete their life cycle in a large backyard pot, you are actually setting up an automated, high-yield leafy green factory that will produce 2 distinct harvests every single year. Mustard greens are incredibly prolific seeders. When the yellow flowers transition into long, thin seed pods, they dry rapidly in the sun. A single plant in a 10-gallon container can produce thousands of seeds. When the pods shatter, they cover the surface of the potting soil. This triggers the first automated harvest. As the late summer temperatures begin to cool off, the seeds will germinate instantly, providing a lush, dense carpet of baby mustard greens just in time for your autumn salads. What makes mustard greens truly exceptional is what happens to the seeds that do not sprout in the fall. They are incredibly cold hardy. They will happily lie dormant under a blanket of winter snow, securely frozen in your patio pots. The very moment the spring soil thaws and reaches just 40 degrees, they wake up. You will have a container overflowing with spicy, nutrient-dense greens weeks before you can even safely plant tomatoes. In the kitchen, having a continuous, self-sown supply of mustard greens is a massive culinary asset. The young, tender leaves add a brilliant, horseradish-like kick to fresh salads, while the larger, mature leaves are an absolute staple in Southern American cooking, perfect for slow braising with garlic and smoked meats. At number 8 is loose leaf lettuce, a staple of the American diet that possesses a surprisingly aggressive and highly effective self-seeding mechanism. Most patio gardeners view lettuce strictly as a short-lived spring crop. The moment the leaves begin to turn bitter and the plant stretches upward to flower, they pull it out and throw it in the compost bin. By breaking this habit and leaving just one single lettuce plant to mature in a corner pot on your deck, you can guarantee a free, endless supply of fresh salad greens year after year. The reproductive strategy of lettuce is completely different from heavy-seeded plants like nasturtiums. When lettuce bolts, it produces tall stalks topped with tiny yellow flowers. These flowers quickly transform into fluffy, white seed heads that look exactly like miniature dandelions. As the wind blows across your porch, these lightweight seeds take flight. They will not only reseed their original container, but will gently drift and settle into the soil of every other pot on your patio. This airborne seeding method creates a beautiful, chaotic, and incredibly productive container garden. The following spring, you will find perfect, crisp little rosettes of lettuce emerging alongside your dormant perennials, at the base of your potted fruit trees, and tucked into the corners of your window boxes. Because loose-leaf varieties do not form tight heads, you can practice a cut-and-come-again harvest, snipping fresh leaves from these volunteer plants all across your backyard. Allowing your lettuce to self-seed also solves the problem of poor germination rates. Store-bought lettuce seeds lose their viability very quickly in the packet. But by letting nature do the work, you are guaranteeing that the freshest, strongest, and most vigorous seeds are planting themselves exactly where they want to grow. At number 7, we have red amaranth, an absolutely spectacular, towering plant that produces a mind-boggling amount of seeds. If you want a plant that makes a bold, dramatic statement in a large patio container while simultaneously providing an endless supply of highly nutritious food, amaranth is unmatched. It is completely unfazed by the brutal heat of the American summer, standing tall and vibrant while delicate greens wither and die. And once you plant it in a pot on your deck, you will quite literally never have to plant it again. The reproductive capability of amaranth is almost terrifying. A single plant, towering above a 15-gallon container, can produce over 100,000 microscopic seeds. The seeds are held tightly within massive, cascading plumes of crimson flowers that look like velvet ropes hanging over your patio. As autumn sets in and the plumes dry, the tiny black seeds rain down by the thousands, heavily saturating the potting soil with enough genetic material to last for years. In terms of food production, self-seeding amaranth is an absolute powerhouse. The young, tender leaves are a brilliant, striking red and can be harvested all summer long. They're traditionally cooked much like spinach, offering a rich, earthy flavor that holds up perfectly in stir-fries, soups, and curries. Because the plant naturally drops so many seeds, your container will become a dense jungle of edible foliage every spring. The greatest advantage of keeping a perpetual pot of red amaranth is its sheer visual impact. It blurs the line between a highly productive vegetable and a breathtaking ornamental centerpiece, transforming a boring corner of your backyard patio into a vibrant, tropical-looking oasis that automatically regenerates itself every single year. At number 6 is orach, often known as mountain spinach, a stunning and highly practical self-seeding alternative to traditional spinach. For the container gardener, growing standard spinach is often a deeply frustrating experience. It demands perfect, cool weather and bolts the second the sun gets too warm, leaving you with empty pots by June. Orach completely solves this problem. It is a highly heat-tolerant, vigorous leafy green that thrives in patio containers, producing a massive harvest before gracefully dropping its seeds to secure the next generation. To successfully establish a permanent stand of orach, plant it in a large, deep container on your porch. Unlike ground-hugging spinach, orach grows upright, often reaching 4 to 5 feet tall, producing stunning arrow-shaped leaves that come in brilliant shades of deep plum, magenta, and chartreuse. When the plant eventually matures, it produces papery, disc-like seed bracts along its tall stems. As these dry in the late summer wind, they flutter down to the soil, burying themselves perfectly in the potting mix. The culinary value of a self-seeding orach pot is immense. The leaves taste remarkably similar to standard spinach, but with a slightly saltier, more mineral-rich profile. Because it handles the heat so well, you can continue harvesting the colorful leaves for fresh salads and sautés deep into the summer months, long after your regular spinach has completely died off. The most exciting feature of orach is how aggressively it volunteers the following spring. Because the seeds are encased in a protective papery shell, they easily survive the harshest winters in a frozen container. When the spring sun hits your patio, your pot will explode with vibrant purple and green seedlings, giving you an effortless, highly ornamental, and delicious harvest year after year. We have covered leafy greens that scatter their seeds in the wind and flowers that drop their heavy shells into the soil. But as we enter the top 5, we are shifting our focus to the heavy hitters. These are the fruiting plants and the absolute survivors that drop entire pods and fruits right onto your patio, creating an unstoppable, zero-effort food forest in your containers. At number 5, we have radishes, a plant that offers one of the best-kept secrets in the container gardening world. Most backyard gardeners view radishes strictly as a quick 30-day root crop. You pull them out of the potting soil, eat the spicy red root, and the plant is gone forever. But if you resist the urge to harvest every single radish in your patio pot and simply let 1 or 2 plants continue to grow, you unlock a completely automated secondary harvest that will magically replant itself. When a radish is left in the soil past its prime, it bolts, sending up tall stalks covered in beautiful, delicate, cross-shaped flowers. As these flowers drop their petals, they produce crisp, green seed pods that look like tiny chili peppers. If you leave these pods on the plant until late summer, they will eventually turn brown, dry out, and shatter. Hundreds of tiny round radish seeds will rain down into the container. Because they drop so late in the season, they perfectly time themselves for a massive, free autumn harvest in that exact same pot. The absolute best part of this self-seeding process is that you get an incredible bonus crop while you wait. Before the green pods dry out, they are entirely edible. These radish pods are a culinary delicacy, offering a phenomenal juicy crunch with the exact same peppery bite as the root itself. You can snack on them right on your back deck, toss them into stir-fries, or pickle them for a unique summer treat. By letting your radishes go to seed, you transform a one-time root harvest into a continuous cycle of edible flowers, crunchy seed pods, and an automatically replanted autumn crop, making it a masterpiece of patio efficiency. At number 4 are garlic chives, an incredibly resilient perennial herb that uses self-seeding to transform a sparse patio pot into an impenetrable, lifelong culinary asset. Buying fresh bundles of herbs at the grocery store is wildly expensive, and many traditional container herbs struggle to survive the intense American winter. Garlic chives solve both problems simultaneously. While they do slowly expand their root clumps over time, their true power lies in their aggressive ability to drop seeds, ensuring that your container becomes thicker, denser, and more productive every single year. Dumping the heavy black seeds directly into the base of the mother plant. The culinary value of a dense, permanent pod of garlic chives cannot be overstated. Unlike standard chives, which have a mild onion flavor, these flat leaves deliver a robust, savory garlic punch without the hassle of actually planting and digging up underground garlic bulbs. You simply walk out to your patio with a pair of scissors, snip a handful to top your baked potatoes, dumplings, or morning eggs, and the plant instantly regrows. The most practical benefit of this intense self-seeding behavior is weed control. As the garlic chives continually drop seeds into their own pot year after year, they create a living mat so thick and dense that no competing weed seed could ever find bare soil to germinate. At number 3, we have ground cherries, a uniquely delicious fruiting plant that was biologically engineered by nature to plant itself. Also known as husk cherries, these sprawling plants produce small, golden yellow fruits wrapped in delicate, paper-like lanterns. They are notoriously difficult to cultivate from seeds indoors, requiring heat mats, grow lights, and months of careful attention. However, when grown in a large patio container and allowed to follow their natural life cycle, they become one of the most reliable and abundant volunteer plants you will ever experience. The self-seeding mechanism of the ground cherry is actually tied directly to how you harvest it. You never pick a ground cherry off the branch. You have to wait for the plant to drop the fruit onto the soil, which signals that it is perfectly ripe. Inevitably, in a bushy container on your deck, you will miss a few fallen lanterns hidden under the foliage. As winter sets in, the paper husks rot away and the sweet fruit decays into the potting soil. This natural cold stratification perfectly breaks the seed's dormancy under the winter snow. The harvest from these volunteer plants is an absolute joy. When you peel back the papery husk, you are rewarded with a sweet, complex fruit that tastes like a vibrant mix of pineapple, vanilla, and cherry tomato. They are incredible for snacking fresh right on the patio, baking into summer pies, or boiling down into a rich golden preserve. The greatest advantage of letting ground cherries self-seed is the sheer vigor of the offspring. The seedlings that naturally emerge in your patio pots in late May are mathematically proven to be stronger, stockier, and more heavily adapted to your specific backyard microclimate than any coddled plant grown under artificial lights. At number 2 is the legendary wild cherry tomato, particularly resilient varieties like the Everglades tomato. For most American gardeners, growing tomatoes is a stressful, high-maintenance chore involving indoor seed starting, delicate transplanting, and a constant battle against blight. Wild cherry tomatoes completely reject that narrative. They are rugged, indestructible survivors. By dedicating a single massive container on your backyard patio to a wild cherry tomato, you establish a permanent, self-replicating tomato factory that requires zero indoor seed starting ever again. The self-seeding process of a wild tomato is a masterpiece of natural fermentation. Throughout the blazing summer, the plant produces hundreds of tiny, intensely sweet fruits. Naturally, a few overripe tomatoes will split and fall directly onto the surface of the potting soil. Inside the tomato, each seed is surrounded by a gelatinous sac that prevents it from germinating prematurely. As the fallen tomato rots in the autumn rain, it ferments, dissolving that protective sac. The seeds sink into your container soil, freeze completely solid over the winter, and wake up naturally when the spring weather is absolutely perfect. The culinary reward is staggering. These wild volunteer plants produce an overwhelming abundance of bite-sized, incredibly sweet tomatoes that are highly resistant to the cracking and blossom drop that plagues modern hybrids. You will find yourself constantly picking them by the handful every time you step out onto your back porch. The most mind-blowing fact about self-seeded patio tomatoes is their speed. While you might panic because your volunteer seedlings pop up in May, weeks after the garden centers start selling large plants, these deeply rooted, naturally hardened survivors grow at a terrifying pace. They will almost always catch up to and eventually outproduce the expensive nursery transplants by midsummer. At number 1, Taking the crown as the ultimate self-seeding container plant is the highly controversial golden purslane. Let's address the elephant in the room. For decades, Americans have spent millions of dollars on toxic herbicides trying to eradicate wild purslane from their driveway cracks and lawn borders, cursing it as an aggressive, noxious weed. But this hatred is a massive misunderstanding of a botanical miracle. By choosing the cultivated, large-leafed golden variety and deliberately isolating it in a patio container, you trap its incredible survival skills and transform a despised weed into a premium, zero-effort superfood. The reason purslane is so notoriously hard to kill in the wild is exactly why it makes the perfect perpetual container crop. It is virtually indestructible. A single plant can produce a staggering 240,000 microscopic seeds. As the tiny yellow flowers close, they drop this invisible dust directly into your patio pot. The seeds can survive baking 100-degree droughts, sub-zero freezes, and can remain viable in the soil for up to 40 years. Once you plant a pot of purslane on your deck, you are guaranteeing a lush green harvest for the rest of your life. The harvest value of this succulent plant is unmatched. The thick, juicy leaves have a bright, citrusy, and slightly salty crunch that is phenomenal in fresh salads or blended into summer smoothies. More importantly, it is an absolute nutritional powerhouse. Purslane contains more omega-3 fatty acids than any other leafy green plant on planet Earth, making it a literal, living vitamin pill growing right outside your back door. By embracing purslane in a controlled container, you completely prevent it from invading your lawn while simultaneously securing the most resilient, nutrient-dense, and aggressively self-seeding vegetable in the world. Stop fighting nature and start eating it. That wraps up our list of the 15 self-seeding vegetables for a never-ending container garden. Which of these perpetual crops are you allowing to gracefully naturalize on your patio? Let me know in the comments below, along with what gardening topics you want me to cover next. But please don't go anywhere just yet, because our masterclass is far from over. You now possess the blueprint for a truly effortless, self-replicating sanctuary. Knowing that nature will automatically handle your future spring plantings brings a profound sense of peace. But while a self-seeding garden secures your future, there is a quiet reality about the present. We are standing right in the middle of summer. While many gardeners step back and surrender their containers to the heat, right now is actually a fleeting, critical window to secure your autumn harvest. But there is a catch. Planting in midsummer is not a universal experience. The heavy, suffocating heat of a southern patio requires a vastly different approach than the rapidly shortening days of a northern summer. Right now, we are shifting our focus from perpetual sustainability to precise midsummer strategy. Let's dive directly into the 15 container vegetables you need to plant this July, meticulously tailored to your specific USDA hardiness zone. Let's look at our first crop. Chapter 1. The Northern Fall Harvest, USDA Zones 3 to 6. For gardeners in the demanding climates of Canada, Michigan, and New York, July is not the relaxed, lazy middle of summer. It is your final, rapidly closing golden window. While others casually embrace the lingering heat, you are intimately aware of the sharp winter frost that is already quietly approaching. We are boldly planting highly resilient, swift-growing crops that will gracefully race against the dropping temperatures. Instead of surrendering to the cold, these magnificent plants will use the crisp, incoming autumn frost as a powerful biological trigger, turning the freezing northern weather to their distinct advantage. We begin our northern container strategy with baby carrots. When the heavy, sweltering heat of a northern July begins to subtly break, your patio demands a visual anchor. Growing your own carrots reveals a breathtaking aesthetic for your autumn garden. You cultivate an abundant, swaying forest of soft, fern-like green tops that proudly withstand the early frosts. They contrast beautifully against the dark, rich soil, quietly hiding vibrant, glowing orange roots just beneath the surface of your container. The biological secret for zones 3 through 6 is timing the germination window. July is your final deadline. Sowing them now gives the tiny seeds the lingering summer warmth they need to sprout. However, as the roots reach their full length, the sharp autumn cold sets in. This plunging temperature acts as a biological trigger, prompting the plant to convert its stored starches into concentrated natural sugars as a defense mechanism, making your homegrown carrots remarkably sweet. To achieve flawless, straight carrots in a cold climate, you must utilize a deep, 10-gallon black fabric grow bag. Carrots resist hitting the hard bottom of a standard plastic pot, which causes them to deform and fork. The breathable fabric allows the delicate taproot to stretch straight down into uncompacted, fluffy soil. Crucially, the dark exterior steadily absorbs the fading late summer sunlight. It acts as a thermal battery, keeping the deep root zone warm and actively growing, even as the September nights turn cold. The harvest is one of the most nostalgic and poetic rituals of the slow-living season. You will step onto your frosty porch and gently brush away the dark soil to reveal crisp, sweet roots that are so tender they require no peeling. Just a quick rinse under the outdoor spigot, and they are ready to be roasted whole in a heavy cast-iron skillet with fresh thyme and local honey, anchoring your seasonal meals in the rhythm of your own backyard. Coming in at number 2 for our northern gardeners is the undisputed king of winter survival, kale. When the delicate summer vines naturally fade and the patio looks barren, cultivating this plant transforms your modest outdoor space into a resilient, weather-defying sanctuary. Its blistered, textured, architectural blue-green leaves stand tall and majestic. It brings a statuesque, almost prehistoric beauty to your container garden, remaining vibrant even when covered in a dusting of early October snow. Biologically, kale is built for endurance, specifically designed to thrive in the demanding conditions of zones 3 to 6. Sowing seeds or planting young starts in July provides the plant with enough summer sunlight to vigorously build a sturdy, towering physical frame. When the sharp autumn frosts finally arrive, the plant simply adapts. It uses the freezing temperatures as an antifreeze mechanism, pushing natural sugars into the leaves, transforming a bitter summer green into a sweet, tender culinary delicacy. To properly support and insulate this heavy-feeding plant against northern temperature drops, a large, heavy-duty dark resin pot is your best strategy. Unlike thin plastic, thick resin walls provide vital thermal mass. They absorb the heat of the July sun and slowly release it during the freezing autumn nights, protecting the delicate root hairs from cold shock. You should also apply a thick layer of organic straw mulch over the soil surface, creating a physical blanket that locks in moisture and prevents the root zone from freezing solid. This is an agricultural investment that pays you daily, nutritious dividends straight through the winter. You will practice the mindful ritual of carefully breaking off the largest, darkest lower leaves one by one as the snow falls around you. These hardy, flavorful leaves are perfect for gently massaging into fresh, nutrient-dense winter salads or slowly baking into crispy chips, providing a touch of organic luxury right outside your door. At number 3, we feature the fast, highly satisfying radish. As the northern landscape gracefully drains of color and prepares for winter dormancy, July is your moment to inject a vibrant burst of life back into your garden. Cultivating autumn radishes brings a sudden pop of brilliant ruby red color and a lush green canopy. This makes your patio look like a thriving, abundant oasis rather than a sterile concrete slab bracing for the upcoming freeze. These remarkable root vegetables are the sprinters of the botanical world, acting as a high-speed engine for northern gardeners. Because zones 3 through 6 have a rapidly closing growing season, the 25-day maturity rate of the radish is a strategic advantage. By sowing them in the last weeks of July, you bypass the unrelenting midsummer heat that typically makes radishes bitter and woody. Instead, they mature beautifully in the crisp September air, guaranteeing a mild, sweet, and firm texture. Because radishes possess extremely shallow root systems, the optimal container strategy requires a long, shallow rectangular window box made of dark, durable composite material. There is no need to waste potting soil filling deep pots for a root that only grows a few inches long. A wide, shallow planter maximizes your horizontal surface area, allowing you to space the seeds in neat rows. The dark composite material steadily absorbs the fading autumn sun, ensuring the shallow soil remains warm enough to push the roots to their maximum size before the freeze. Within a mere month, you will be pulling these crisp, peppery jewels directly from the cold earth. Slicing them paper-thin over a piece of buttered artisan sourdough toast finished with a pinch of flaky sea salt provides a gourmet, zero-food-miles breakfast. It is a deeply satisfying culinary experience that connects you directly to the season, proving that you can squeeze genuine abundance out of a short growing window. Number 4 requires a slight strategic shift: broccoli transplants. As the sprawling energy of the summer garden gracefully fades, cultivating broccoli offers a highly structural, breathtaking aesthetic to anchor your autumn patio. The plant produces expansive, prehistoric, silver-green leaves that eventually give way to a stunning, deeply textured, tightly beaded, blue-green central crown. It stands like a majestic, highly organized living sculpture on your patio, boldly holding its ground against the unpredictable incoming autumn weather. The biological reality for northern gardeners is that planting broccoli from seed in July will simply not give you enough time before the winter freeze. However, planting established nursery transplants in July is a strategic masterstroke. Broccoli planted in the spring often bolts and goes to seed due to the summer heat. By inserting established plants into the warm July soil, they grow large, robust foliage in August. This allows the tightly packed crowns to form slowly and perfectly during the crisp, chilled weeks of late September and October. To support this top-heavy brassica, an enriched 15-gallon fabric grow bag is highly recommended. Broccoli requires rich nutrients and consistent moisture to prevent the crown from splitting. The large fabric bag forces the root system to air prune, creating thousands of fine feeder roots that vigorously absorb nutrients. Because the fabric can lose heat quickly in zones 3 or 4, you should top-dress the soil with rich worm castings and a thick layer of compost. This physically insulates the root zone against sudden overnight frosts. The harvest is a moment of quiet agricultural triumph. You will proudly step out to your crisp patio, wielding a sharp knife to cleanly slice the dense central crown right from the thick stalk. Bringing this pristine, icy-cold head of broccoli into your warm kitchen to be gently steamed and tossed with fresh garlic and olive oil provides a hearty, nutritious meal that justifies your strategic July planning. We round out Chapter 1 at number 5 with the remarkably resilient spinach. When the unrelenting heat of the northern summer finally begins to break, your patio naturally craves a resurgence of deep, vibrant green. Cultivating autumn spinach provides a lush, dense, low-growing tapestry of dark, textured, spade-shaped leaves that gracefully blankets your containers. It brings a profoundly calming yet abundant visual anchor to your outdoor space, It stands as a breathtaking, deep green sanctuary just as the surrounding landscape fades into a quiet gray. Biologically, spinach is a master of the rapidly cooling season. Attempting to grow this crop in the heat of spring often results in immediate, irreversible bolting. However, by strategically holding your seeds until the very end of July or early August, you capture the downward trend in northern soil temperatures. The tiny seeds vigorously germinate in the cooling earth. As the autumn days shorten, the plant is biologically prevented from flowering. Instead, it dynamically redirects its energy into producing thick, tender leaves that thrive in the crisp, overcast days. To properly accommodate this expansive horizontal growth, a wide, durable composite rectangular trough is your best strategy. Spinach possesses a vigorous yet remarkably shallow root system that requires surface area rather than extreme depth. The heavy, dark composite material effectively prevents the rapid evaporation that plagues porous clay. It firmly locks in the consistent moisture this thirsty crop demands, while absorbing the gentle, fading autumn sunlight to keep the shallow root zone active. The harvest is a deeply rhythmic, rewarding, continuous cycle of abundance. You will practice the satisfying cut-and-come-again method, stepping out into the morning dew to mindfully snap the crisp outer leaves, while the central crown steadily pushes out fresh new growth. Gently wilting these frost-kissed, earthy leaves in a heavy cast-iron pan with browned butter provides a deeply flavorful, nutritious addition to your autumn table, closing out the northern growing season with quiet triumph. Chapter 2. The Transitional Second Summer, USDA Zones 7 to 8. For gardeners operating in the intense transitional climates of Zones 7 and 8, like Virginia and northern Texas, July represents the blistering peak of summer exhaustion. Your initial spring crops are likely fading under the unrelenting heat and heavy humidity. However, you must not surrender the patio. July is the critical strategic turning point where we boldly launch a second summer. We are deploying specialized, remarkably heat-resistant crops that will thrive in the warm soil right now, setting the stage for a steady, resilient autumn harvest that will revitalize your garden. We launch Chapter 2 at number 6 with the visually spectacular, truly majestic Swiss chard. When the blistering July sun bakes the patios of Zone 7, leaving the spring garden looking exhausted, this plant serves as a breathtaking, vibrant beacon of survival. Its massive, glossy, architectural green leaves are gracefully supported by stunning, heavily veined stems in brilliant shades of fiery crimson, bright gold, and deep magenta. It revitalizes your sun-weary deck, bringing a dramatic, vividly colored tropical aesthetic to an otherwise stressed midsummer landscape. The biological reality of Zones 7 and 8 is that the midsummer heat can be punishing. However, Swiss chard is a true biological powerhouse armed with remarkable heat tolerance. By purposefully sowing seeds in July, you allow the deep taproot to firmly establish itself in the warm soil. While the above-ground growth might pause during the blistering August weeks, the crisp arrival of September acts as a biological trigger. The deeply rooted plant will suddenly erupt into steady, unstoppable vegetative production that continues straight through November. To safely protect this magnificent plant during the intensely hot July establishment phase, a large, heavy, beautifully glazed ceramic pot is your best strategy. The thick, dense walls of the ceramic provide essential thermal mass. They act as a crucial insulating barrier that physically prevents the harsh summer sun from overheating the delicate root zone. Furthermore, cultivating it in a standalone container allows you to move the heavy pot into protective afternoon shade until the sweltering heat wave finally breaks. The harvest is a rhythmic, rewarding display of continuous abundance. You will walk out to your sunlit porch to gently clip these vibrantly glowing, crisp stalks, gently wilting these hardy leaves in a warm cast iron pan with rich olive oil and smoked garlic provides a flavorful, deeply comforting dish that beautifully bridges the culinary gap between a scorching summer and a crisp autumn. At number 7, we present the legendary, highly productive zucchini. When the heavy midsummer humidity exhausts your patio, this plant dynamically injects a massive burst of untamed, lush greenery. It is a visually imposing masterpiece, featuring expansive, prehistoric-looking, deeply lobed leaves and stunning, brilliantly golden blossoms. It brings an abundant, beautifully chaotic, and tropical aesthetic to your outdoor space, instantly transforming a sun-baked corner into an active, vibrantly alive green oasis. For gardeners in Zones 7 and 8, July represents the perfect window for a crucial succession planting. By midsummer, your initial spring-planted zucchini is likely exhausted or damaged by squash bugs. Sowing a brand new batch of seeds in July bypasses this frustrating decline. The summer heat causes the fresh seeds to rapidly germinate in mere days, fueling a vigorous second summer growth cycle that guarantees a heavy harvest from late August until the very first frost. Because of its substantial water requirements in the sweltering heat, a large insulated wooden half-barrel is highly recommended. This vessel provides the sheer volume of rich, moisture-retaining compost required to fuel this demanding plant. The thick natural wood acts as a physical shield, preventing the intense July sun from evaporating the vital moisture out of the soil. It also firmly anchors the massive, sail-like canopy against powerful summer thunderstorms. This incredible plant is the unrivaled powerhouse of the transitional patio. You will find yourself excitedly harvesting heavy, beautifully glossy green squash every single week. From grilling thick, charred slices at a late summer patio barbecue to peacefully baking warm, spiced zucchini bread on a crisp autumn morning, this single powerful plant effortlessly provides an abundant harvest. Coming in at number 8, we feature the highly prolific bush cucumber. When the July air in Zone 8 becomes stagnant and heavy, this plant creates a profoundly refreshing, cooling visual escape. It rapidly builds a lush, vibrant canopy of oversized, beautifully textured green leaves that gracefully spill over the edges of your containers. This dense foliage is dotted with cheerful yellow flowers, concealing dozens of hanging, crisp green fruits. It offers a quiet, highly productive sanctuary amidst the unrelenting summer glare. In these transitional climates, timing is everything. Cucumbers planted in the spring often become bitter and tough when subjected to the prolonged, blistering heat of July. However, by intentionally waiting to sow your bush cucumber seeds in mid-July, you manipulate the plant's biological clock. The heat causes the seeds to sprout remarkably fast, but the demanding fruiting phase perfectly aligns with the slightly cooler, refreshing days of late August and September, guaranteeing the sweetest, most tender cucumbers possible. A heavy-duty plastic resin pot, equipped with a small, rigid metal tomato cage, is the perfect environment. The heavy resin effectively holds the deep, consistent moisture that cucumbers need to remain crisp. Crucially, you should apply a thick layer of light-colored organic straw mulch directly over the soil surface. This physical barrier actively reflects the intense July sunlight, keeping the delicate, shallow feeder roots cool and deeply hydrated. The ultimate reward is unmatched crunch and profound hydration. You will happily part the heavy green leaves to pluck perfectly ripe sun-warmed cucumbers straight from the thick stem. Slicing them into your vibrant late summer salads or dropping thick, icy slices into a cold pitcher of water provides a profoundly refreshing, hydrating experience on your warm patio. Number 9 brings us the highly underrated, versatile turnip. As July burns away the last remnants of the spring garden, leaving behind empty pots, Cultivating this crop reveals a stunning, deeply rustic, dual-purpose beauty. Above the baked soil, you rapidly cultivate a thick, vibrant canopy of lush, deeply serrated green leaves. Beneath the surface, smooth, beautifully heavy purple and white globes quietly swell. It offers a profoundly traditional, grounding aesthetic that transforms your patio into an active, working homestead. For Zones 7 and 8, July is the ultimate window to launch this fall staple. Turnips possess a fascinating biological duality. By sowing the tiny seeds in the sweltering heat of late July, the warm soil acts as an incubator, driving rapid germination in days. As the plant vigorously develops its leafy canopy throughout August, the crisp autumn air eventually arrives, acting as a profound biological trigger. The plant dynamically redirects its energy downward, swelling the roots and packing them with concentrated sugars. To maximize this impressive dual harvest, a wide, durable composite rectangular planter is your best strategy. Turnips do not require extreme depths, but they need adequate horizontal spacing to swell properly without competition. The expansive surface area of a rectangular trough allows for excellent air circulation between the lush leaves. This is critical during the heavy heat of August to prevent fungal diseases from damaging your leafy greens. This single plant provides a remarkably abundant double harvest. In late summer, you selectively harvest the tender green tops, slowly braising them with smoked garlic for a deeply comforting side dish. Weeks later, you will practice the rewarding, grounding ritual of pulling the heavy, perfectly crisp purple roots directly from the cold autumn earth, ready to be slowly roasted into a nutritious winter staple. Rounding out Chapter 2 at number 10 is the pristine, highly structural bok choy. By late July, the transitional patio often feels overgrown, visually chaotic, and exhausted by the punishing heat. Introducing this magnificent Asian green instantly brings a profound sense of architectural order back to your containers. The smooth, brilliantly white stalks and dark, glossy, spoon-shaped leaves grow in a neat, structured, vase-like form. Placing these striking, elegant plants in the dappled shade adds a profoundly calm, beautifully structured visual element to the fading summer garden. Asian greens are sensitive to extreme heat and prolonged day length, which forces them to bolt and flower almost immediately in the spring. However, purposefully sowing bok choy in late July is a profound biological masterstroke. The plant matures as the days grow shorter and the heavy temperatures finally drop. This perfect biological alignment naturally prevents early flowering, allowing the plant to rapidly develop thick, crisp stalks and remarkably tender leaves. Classic unglazed terracotta pots work exceptionally well for this crop, provided you monitor their moisture. Grouping these porous clay pots directly behind larger containers, such as those holding towering tomatoes or bushy peppers, creates a vital, highly protective cooling microclimate. The deeply breathable terracotta allows the soil to aerate, preventing the sensitive roots from sitting in stagnant water after heavy late summer rainstorms. Harvesting this crop is a clean, deeply satisfying experience. You can expertly slice the entire head directly at the base, keeping the pristine leaves perfectly attached to the thick stalk. Halved lengthwise and quickly seared in a hot pan with a touch of toasted sesame oil, it retains a snapping crunch and a profoundly mild flavor. It provides a brilliant, elegant addition to a quiet evening meal. Chapter 3. The Southern Desert Heat, USDA Zones 9 to 10 plus. For gardeners in the notoriously intense, unforgiving climates of southern Florida, Texas, and Arizona, July can feel like a suffocating furnace. When the blistering, unrelenting summer heat exhausts the spring garden, leaving it quiet and dormant, you must change your tactics. While others surrender their patios until October, We are about to launch a highly calculated, proactively heat-seeking agricultural strategy. We are deploying specialized, tropical crops that don't just survive the heavy heat, they require it. They unleash a phenomenal harvest exactly when the sun is at its most intense. We launch the final chapter at number 11 with the remarkably resilient, unstoppable sweet potato. When the unrelenting heat of a Zone 10 July silences the typical patio garden, this magnificent plant provides a breathtaking visual salvation. The thick tropical vines boldly spill over your containers, rapidly carpeting your sun-baked concrete in a dense, intensely vibrant mat of heart-shaped leaves. It creates a profoundly serene, thriving green sanctuary that gracefully outlasts the summer sun. Biologically, the sweet potato is a phenomenal, highly specialized tropical wonder that views a 100-degree July afternoon not as a threat, but as a requirement. While typical northern potatoes would succumb to this intensely hot soil, sweet potato slips planted in midsummer use the intense daytime heat and humid nights as a massive biological catalyst. This profound environmental pressure prompts the plant to vigorously multiply its underground tubers, converting extreme solar energy into massive starchy roots. To successfully execute this high-heat strategy, a massive 20-gallon light-colored fabric grow bag is highly recommended. You should avoid black plastic in Zone 10 as it can quickly overheat the roots. A tan or light gray breathable fabric actively reflects the punishing ultraviolet rays away from the container. More importantly, the remarkably porous fabric allows the trapped heat to effortlessly escape. This naturally regulates the internal soil temperature, while providing the immense volume needed for the tubers to expand unhindered. The harvest completely redefines the concept of zero-effort abundance. Long after the exhausting summer breaks, you will slice open the heavy fabric bag to unearth an avalanche of smooth, deeply orange tubers. Baking these dense sweet potatoes in a slow oven releases a rich, intensely caramelized syrup, providing deeply comforting sustenance throughout the winter. At number 12, we feature the spectacularly resilient, proudly upright okra. When the stagnant, heavy July air settles over the southern patio, causing delicate vines to wither, okra stands as a majestic, deeply tropical monolith. It boasts a remarkably sturdy posture, boldly displaying massive, stunning, hibiscus-like pale yellow flowers with deep crimson centers. It creates a captivating, beautifully architectural centerpiece that commands the space and gracefully defies the searing midsummer heat. Biologically, okra is one of the few botanical wonders that uses extreme temperatures as a biological accelerator. In Zones 9 and 10, planting okra seeds in the center of summer triggers a dynamic, rapid growth cycle. The unrelenting heat pushes the plant to drop its gorgeous blossoms and form crisp, brilliantly green pods in a matter of days, demanding your attention to keep up with its steady production rate. Because this robust plant features a vigorous taproot explicitly designed to hunt for water in arid conditions, a remarkably tall, heavy-duty resin planter is your best container strategy. The deep pot securely anchors the heavy canopy against sudden, powerful summer thunderstorms. Crucially, you should top-dress the soil surface with a thick layer of coarse pine bark mulch to slow evaporation. This ensures that the deep taproot remains hydrated during the intense afternoon baking hours. The continuous harvest is a highly engaging daily ritual. Because the extreme heat accelerates pod production, you will step out to your warm patio every morning wielding sharp shears. Snapping off these perfectly tender pods when they are exactly 3 inches long guarantees an immaculate crunch. Flash frying them in a hot cast iron skillet provides a genuinely gourmet, authentic Southern masterpiece. Coming in at number 13 is the breathtakingly gorgeous, untamed Malabar spinach. Attempting to grow traditional cool weather greens on a July patio will quickly result in a wilted, bitter mess. Instead, embrace this remarkably vigorous succulent vine. It rapidly constructs a striking vertical wall of incredibly thick, glossy leaves, contrasted against saturated, vivid magenta stems. It brings an exotic, deeply vibrant aesthetic that effortlessly thrives under the most intense UV rays imaginable. Despite its misleading common name, this vigorous plant is a highly specialized, heat-seeking succulent perfectly designed for the sheer intensity of zones 9 and 10. Planting these seeds in July instantly triggers its biological imperative to climb. As the heavy, suffocating heat index skyrockets, the plant dynamically produces incredibly thick, glossy leaves. It generates maximum vegetative output precisely when every other traditional green has surrendered to the heat. Because this phenomenal plant is a rapid, vigorous climber, your container strategy must focus on structural verticality. A massive 15-gallon heavy composite tub, expertly paired with a tall, anchored A-frame metal trellis, is vital. The heavy tub provides the massive water capacity needed to keep the succulent leaves plump. Meanwhile, the towering trellis guides the vines, transforming a sprawling plant into a highly organized, striking vertical wall of edible foliage. This single powerful container revolutionizes your summer patio. You will practice the highly mindful ritual of stepping outside to meticulously snip the remarkably thick, crisp leaves. They possess a brilliantly mild, slightly peppery, deeply refreshing flavor profile that flawlessly withstands the heat. They provide a crisp, heat-proof foundation for a vibrant, highly nutritious summer salad. At number 14, we highly recommend cultivating intensely flavorful hot peppers. In the most sun-baked, unforgiving corner of your patio, where the intense heat radiates, hot peppers create a deeply striking visual spectacle. The plant rapidly develops into a remarkably compact bush, its dark, heavily textured leaves cupped against the intense sun. This dense canopy becomes loaded with brilliant, hot jewels, offering a breathtaking display of raw biological power. For gardeners in zones 9 and 10, planting established 6-week-old transplants in July is the ultimate strategic move for an abundant fall harvest. If you were to sow seeds right now, they would take over 100 days to produce fruit, pushing your harvest deep into the cooler winter months when yields naturally drop. By inserting robust transplants into the warm July soil, you perfectly align their fruiting phase with the intense late summer heat they biologically require. This environmental pressure chemically prompts the plant to flood the fruit with concentrated capsaicin oils, guaranteeing a deep, complex, and remarkable heat profile. To properly harness this intense heat without overwhelming the plant, a classic, heavy, fully unglazed 5-gallon terracotta pot is the ultimate expert strategy. Hot peppers resist stagnant moisture and strongly prefer their deep root systems to completely dry out between heavy waterings. The highly porous, deeply breathable clay expertly wicks away excess moisture. It naturally mimics the arid, harsh desert conditions these plants crave, driving even more intense flavor and profound heat directly into the ripening peppers. The final harvest is a deeply satisfying, triumphant culinary victory. You will proudly harvest dozens of heavy, deeply colored, intensely hot peppers from a single, compact plant. Slowly roasting them over an open flame to create a deeply smoky, intensely flavorful salsa guarantees a massive, aromatic spice cabinet that will dramatically flavor your winter cooking for months. We round out our July masterclass at number 15 with the highly luxurious eggplant. As the heavy deep south summer reaches its absolute zenith, the eggplant stands as a deeply majestic, resilient anchor on your quiet patio. The plant boldly deploys massive, remarkably velvety leaves that actively absorb the blinding glare. These leaves shelter breathtakingly glossy, flawlessly smooth, deeply purple fruits. They offer a luxurious, intensely rich visual centerpiece to finalize your summer garden. Biologically, the eggplant is the undisputed king of the southern summer. However, just like our hot peppers, starting from seed in July is a critical mistake. Eggplants require a long maturity window. Waiting 100 days for seeds to fruit means the incoming cool winter weather will eventually stunt your production. By actively planting sturdy, pre-grown transplants right now, you immediately provide them with the intense thermal heat they crave. The midsummer temperatures fuel the rapid expansion of its velvet leaves, providing the biological energy required to swell those heavy fruits to flawless perfection before the season eventually cools. To support the immense production of this phenomenal nightshade, a large 20-gallon dark resin tub placed in the hottest, sunniest corner is highly recommended. The incredibly thick resin walls act as a massive thermal battery. They absorb the blistering daytime heat and steadily radiate it straight into the root zone throughout the warm night. You must implement a rigid wooden support stake to physically prevent the heavy fruits from suddenly snapping the delicate branches. Harvesting a flawlessly perfect, profoundly glossy eggplant from your patio is a moment of pure culinary triumph. Seamlessly slicing through the dense, tightly packed, sponge-like flesh to create a rich, bubbling, slow-baked masterpiece provides a deeply comforting, high-end meal. It proves that you can master the most unrelenting climate and harvest genuine abundance. That wraps up our masterclass on the 15 container vegetables to plant this July, perfectly tailored to your USDA zone. Which of these climate-specific crops are you bringing to your patio? Let me know in the comments below, along with what gardening challenges you want me to tackle next. But please don't go anywhere just yet, because our container gardening journey is far from over. You now possess the precise blueprint to master your local climate and beat the extreme weather. But if you are gardening on an apartment balcony or a modest urban patio, you face an unforgiving physical limit: square footage. A brilliant zone strategy cannot change the size of your concrete slab. Once you arrange a few heavy containers, your quiet sanctuary can quickly feel crowded and cluttered. How do you achieve a massive, homestead-level harvest when you only have a few feet of floor space? The answer is beautifully simple. You stop growing outward and you begin growing upward. Right now, we are shifting our focus from climate mastery to vertical scaling. Let's dive directly into the top 15 climbing vegetables specifically designed to grow vertically, transforming your tiny balcony into a towering, highly productive food forest. Let's look at our first climber. We are kicking off the list with climbing nasturtiums, the ultimate edible ornamental that completely shatters the idea that vegetable gardens cannot be breathtakingly beautiful. When you live in a high-rise apartment, your balcony often feels like a sterile, concrete box. Most urban gardeners want a plant that softens those harsh lines with vibrant colors, but they do not want to waste precious container space on flowers you cannot eat. Climbing nasturtiums solve this problem instantly. They provide a stunning aesthetic upgrade while functioning as a highly productive, gourmet food source that 5-star restaurants across America charge a premium for. The vertical mechanics of this plant are fascinating. Unlike heavy vines that require industrial-strength supports, climbing nasturtiums use highly sensitive twining leaf stalks to pull themselves upward. When provided with a simple, lightweight string trellis or a thin wire mesh against your balcony wall, they will aggressively climb up to 8 feet in the air. As they ascend, their unique lily-pad-shaped leaves overlap perfectly, creating a dense, lightweight living sunscreen. This biological curtain effectively blocks the harsh afternoon UV rays from baking your apartment windows, naturally lowering your indoor temperatures. For your container strategy, this is one of the cheapest and easiest setups imaginable. You only need a standard 5-gallon pot or a railing planter. The ultimate expert hack for nasturtiums is intentional neglect. If you give them premium, highly fertilized potting soil, they will produce massive amounts of leaves but absolutely zero flowers. You actually want to use poor, unfertilized soil and let the soil dry out slightly between waterings. This calculated stress forces the plant to erupt in brilliant, fiery orange, yellow, and red blossoms all over your balcony. The harvest payoff is phenomenally rewarding. Climbing nasturtiums thrive best in USD. A hardiness zones 3 through 10 as a rapid growing annual. From the moment you drop the seeds into the dirt, you are looking at an incredibly fast harvest time of just 35 to 50 days. The yield is absolutely massive because the more you pick, the more the plant regenerates. Every single part of the plant above the soil is edible. You can harvest handfuls of the vibrant flowers and the circular leaves every single week to toss into your summer salads. They deliver a brilliant, peppery, mustard-like kick that completely elevates your everyday meals while making your balcony the envy of the entire building. Coming in at number 14 is the edible sweet potato vine, a nearly indestructible tropical survivor that completely ignores the blistering heat of the American summer. By the time July rolls around, most balcony gardeners are watching their standard leafy greens wilt, turn intensely bitter, and completely die off in the oppressive heat. The edible sweet potato vine is the ultimate workaround. While traditional backyard farmers grow sweet potatoes in massive, heavy mounds of dirt to harvest the underground tubers in the fall, we are utilizing a brilliant urban gardening cheat code. We are growing this aggressively fast vine strictly for its highly nutritious, heat-proof leaves. The vertical mechanics of the sweet potato vine make it an absolute powerhouse for balcony climate control. It is a wildly vigorous grower that functions perfectly as both a climber and a cascading spiller. If you plant it in a railing box and give it a vertical trellis, it will rapidly weave its thick vines upward. Its broad, heart-shaped leaves are biologically designed to soak up intense sunlight. By training it up a net, you create an impenetrable, thick green wall. This living sunscreen acts as a formidable heat shield, absorbing the solar radiation before it can hit your apartment's sliding glass doors, keeping your living room dramatically cooler. To execute the perfect container strategy, you should use a wide, shallow 10-gallon pot. Because we do not care about root development, you do not need deep soil. The expert hack here is to aggressively feed the plant with high nitrogen liquid fertilizer every 2 weeks. Nitrogen specifically fuels extreme foliage growth. You want to force the plant to push all of its energy into creating a massive, sprawling canopy of tender green and deep purple leaves rather than wasting energy below the soil line. The harvest payoff is perfectly suited for the midsummer heat wave. This plant completely dominates in USDA hardiness zones 8 through 11, but thrives beautifully as a summer annual in cooler zones. It boasts a staggering harvest time, providing tender shoots in just 30 to 40 days after planting. The yield is practically infinite. It is a true cut-and-come-again crop. You take a pair of scissors and aggressively snip off the top 6 inches of the vines every week. The plant simply branches out and grows back thicker. The leaves have a mild, sweet flavor and are traditionally sautéed with garlic and olive oil, giving you an endless supply of premium summer greens right on your patio. At number 13, we have Malabar spinach, an exotic architectural masterpiece that serves as the ultimate heat wave rescue crop for the American balcony gardener. When the midsummer temperatures consistently cross the 90-degree mark, attempting to grow traditional spinach or delicate lettuces in containers is a complete waste of time. They will immediately bolt, flower, and die. Malabar spinach is not actually true spinach at all. It is a tropical, vining succulent that absolutely worships the heat and humidity. When your other balcony plants are begging for shade, this vibrant, red-stemmed vine hits the accelerator and grows at a terrifying speed. The vertical mechanics of Malabar spinach are a sight to behold. It features thick, fleshy, ruby red vines that aggressively twist and twine around any vertical support they can find. You must provide it with a sturdy vertical string trellis or a rigid metal grid. Because the leaves are semi-succulent, meaning they store water inside their thick cellular walls, the foliage creates a heavy, dense canopy. As it climbs toward your ceiling, it forms a gorgeous, waxy, living sunscreen. This thick barrier completely blocks out the blinding afternoon glare, turning your balcony into a shaded, tropical oasis in the middle of a concrete jungle. For your container strategy, you need a heavy 7 to 10 gallon pot to counterbalance the massive weight of the vine once it reaches the top of the trellis. The ultimate balcony hack for Malabar spinach is moisture manipulation. Because it originates from the tropics, it craves humidity. If you live in a dry climate, use a spray bottle to heavily mist the leaves and the balcony walls around the plant every morning. This micro-level humidity explosion will trick the plant into thinking it is in a rainforest, causing the leaf size to double and the vines to surge upward. The harvest payoff is where this plant truly shines. It performs flawlessly in USDA hardiness zones 7 through 11, where the summers are long and brutally hot. You are looking at a highly productive harvest time of 50 to 70 days. The yield is absolutely astronomical. A single seed can easily produce a vine that stretches over 10 feet long, pumping out pounds of thick, dark green leaves. You can harvest the massive leaves continuously from midsummer all the way until the first hard frost. The leaves have a crisp, slightly peppery flavor with a hint of citrus. They hold their shape perfectly when tossed into a hot wok for a summer stir-fry or heavily chopped into fresh, heat-proof salads. Coming in at number 12 are scarlet runner beans, a breathtaking, dual-purpose climbing vine that brings unparalleled wildlife energy directly to your high-rise balcony. Most urban container gardeners assume that attracting beautiful pollinators like hummingbirds is a luxury reserved for massive suburban backyards. The scarlet runner bean completely changes that narrative. It is a legendary American heirloom plant that combines the aggressive, food-producing power of a heavy vegetable crop with the stunning ornamental beauty of a premium floral vine, making it one of the most exciting plants you can put on a patio. The vertical mechanics are built for total domination. This plant does not produce delicate, fragile vines. It throws out thick, incredibly strong runners that will aggressively wrap around anything in their path. You must provide a heavy-duty nylon trellis net or secure wooden poles. As it climbs, it rapidly builds a massive wall of dark green textured foliage. But the true magic happens when it erupts into clusters of brilliant, fiery red flowers. This thick, flowering living sunscreen provides total privacy from your neighbors while acting as an irresistible, glowing beacon for hummingbirds, turning your urban balcony into a vibrant nature sanctuary. Your container strategy requires a large footprint to support the aggressive root system, so a 15-gallon pot or a deep planter box is mandatory. The critical expert hack for growing these in containers during the summer is root temperature control. While the vines love the sun, the roots absolutely despise being baked in a hot plastic pot. You must heavily mulch the surface of the potting soil with 3 inches of straw or wood chips, and ideally, place a smaller potted plant directly in front of the bean pot to cast a permanent shadow on the soil, keeping the root zone deep and cool. The harvest payoff is spectacular and versatile. They grow exceptionally well as a perennial in USDA hardiness zones 7 through 11 and act as a rapid-growing summer annual in cooler zones 3 through 6. The harvest time hits right around 65 to 75 days. The yield is incredibly heavy, providing you with multiple pounds of food from a single container. You can harvest the young, tender green pods early and eat them exactly like standard snap beans. Alternatively, you can let them fully mature on the vine until the fall, crack the pods open, and harvest the stunning, massive pink and purple mottled beans inside to dry and use for hearty winter stews. At number 11, we have the sugar snap pea, unlocking one of the greatest high-yield secrets in the container gardening world, the fall balcony harvest. Most beginner gardeners associate peas strictly with the cool, damp weather of early spring. By the time July arrives, their spring peas have completely died off in the heat and they leave their trellises empty. But the true urban gardening masters know that the middle of summer is the exact, perfect time to start a brand new generation of sugar snap peas. By planting them now, you are setting up a massive, crunchy harvest perfectly timed for the crisp days of autumn. The vertical mechanics of sugar snap peas are incredibly elegant and lightweight. Unlike heavy beans or gourds, peas use highly advanced, delicate little tendrils that act like biological fingers. These tendrils will flawlessly wrap around thin wires, fishing line, or lightweight balcony netting. Because the vines and leaves are smaller and more refined, they do not create a heavy, dark wall. Instead, they form a dappled, translucent, living sunscreen. This gently filters the harsh sunlight, allowing a beautiful, soft green glow to enter your apartment windows without blocking your view of the city skyline. For your container strategy, these are perfectly suited for tight spaces, thriving easily in small 5 to 7 gallon pots or narrow railing boxes. The ultimate midsummer hack to get these cool weather seeds to germinate in the July heat is the shadow sowing technique. You do not place the seeded pot in the direct sun. Instead, you tuck the pot completely underneath the shade of your larger tomato or pepper plants. The shade keeps the potting soil up to 10 degrees cooler, tricking the pea seeds into germinating. Once they sprout and the August heat begins to break, you move them into the sun to let them climb. The harvest payoff is an absolute joy. They are a critical late-season crop for USDA hardiness zones 3 through 8. When planted in midsummer, you are looking at a fast harvest time of just 60 to 70 days, meaning your vines will be loaded with food by September. The yield is famously prolific. A small balcony trellis will produce hundreds of bright green, plump pods. There is simply nothing better than stepping out onto your balcony in the cool autumn air and snapping off a handful of sweet, incredibly crunchy peas for the ultimate healthy American garden snack. We have covered the ornamental beauties and the secret fall harvests, but as we move into the top 10, we are looking at the heavy hitters. These are the absolute workhorses of the container garden, plants that are currently going viral online for their bizarre shapes and massive yields. Before we dive into these rapid growth vines, if you are finding value in this balcony survival guide, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss out on our urban gardening secrets. Now, let's look at a cucumber that is built like a snake and the ultimate trending bath sponge hack. At number 10 is the Armenian cucumber, a bizarre, snake-like anomaly that completely solves the biggest complaint gardeners have about summer cucumbers: the bitter taste. When the brutal heat waves of July and August hit, standard cucumbers undergo severe heat stress, pumping a chemical called cucurbitacin into the fruit, which makes them incredibly bitter and inedible. The Armenian cucumber is biologically entirely different. Technically, it is a variety of muskmelon, which means it absolutely thrives in the blistering heat and never, ever turns bitter, delivering a perfectly sweet, crisp crunch every single time. The vertical mechanics of this plant are the secret to its aesthetic perfection. If you grow these on the ground in a traditional garden, the fruits curl up into strange, twisted knots and often rot on the damp soil. But when you grow them on a balcony, gravity becomes your best friend. By training the strong vines up a heavy-duty trellis, the massive, ribbed fruits hang suspended in the air, allowing gravity to pull them perfectly straight. Meanwhile, the large, umbrella-like leaves form a dense, heavy living sunscreen that creates a deep, cooling shade over your balcony seating area. Your container strategy must accommodate its aggressive growth, requiring at least a 10-gallon pot to hold enough moisture. The ultimate expert hack for this specific plant is implementing a strict, consistent watering schedule using a drip emitter. Because these fruits grow so incredibly fast in the summer heat, any sudden fluctuation in soil moisture will cause the thin skin of the cucumber to violently split open. Keeping the soil consistently damp ensures flawless, beautiful fruits. The harvest payoff is unbelievably rewarding. This heat-loving vine thrives best in USD, hardiness zones 5 through 11. From seeding to harvest, you only need about 60 to 70 days. The yield is staggering. A single healthy vine can produce dozens of cucumbers, each reaching up to 2 feet in length. Because the skin is so thin and lacks the waxy coating of grocery store cucumbers, there is absolutely no peeling required. You simply slice them into large, ribbed rounds for the most refreshing, heat-proof summer salad you will ever eat on your patio. Coming in at number 9 is the loofah gourd, an aggressive, heavy-duty climber that has recently exploded across social media as the ultimate sustainable gardening trend. If you have an exposed, south-facing balcony that receives punishing afternoon sun, this plant is your biological savior. Most people assume the sponges they buy for their bathroom are synthetic or come from the ocean. Discovering that you can grow premium, organic bath sponges on an apartment balcony is a massive revelation, making this one of the most exciting and conversation-starting plants you can possibly grow. The vertical mechanics of the loofah require serious infrastructure. This is not a delicate vine, it is a genetic powerhouse that produces thick, grasping tendrils. It will desperately grab onto heavy netting, rigid metal grids, or overhead balcony rafters, rapidly climbing toward the ceiling to create a magnificent roof. As it aggressively covers your vertical space, the massive leaves overlap to form an impenetrable living sunscreen, completely blocking the harshest UV rays. It also erupts with giant, brilliant yellow flowers that act as a beacon for urban pollinators. To support this massive canopy, your container strategy requires a minimum of a 15-gallon pot filled with rich, well-draining soil. The expert balcony hack for the loofah is phosphorus manipulation. Because it grows so aggressively, it often produces too many leaves and not enough gourds. Once the vine reaches the top of your trellis, you must switch to a high-phosphorus organic fertilizer. This sudden shift forces the plant to stop building leaves and channel all of its energy into setting dozens of heavy, hanging gourds. The harvest payoff offers incredible dual-purpose utility. The loofah demands a long, hot summer, thriving in USDA hardiness zones 6 through 11. If you want to eat it, the harvest time is about 60 days. You pick the gourds when they are small and tender, cooking them exactly like zucchini. But if you want the famous sponges, you leave them hanging on the vine for over 100 days until they turn brown and lightweight. The yield is fantastic. One vine can give you a dozen large sponges. You simply peel off the dry skin to reveal a lifetime supply of natural, exfoliating shower sponges right from your balcony. At number 8, we have pole beans, the absolute workhorse of the American summer garden and an essential staple for any urban barbecue enthusiast. While standard bush beans are great for a quick harvest, they are a terrible choice for small balconies because they take up a massive amount of horizontal floor space and die off after a few weeks. Pole beans, particularly legendary heirloom varieties like Kentucky Wonder, completely solve this by growing straight up. They are a perpetual food machine, giving you a continuous, heavy harvest while occupying almost zero square footage on your patio. The vertical mechanics are flawless for apartment balconies. Unlike peas that use tendrils to grip, pole beans are twiners. The main stem of the plant actively spirals and wraps itself tightly around any vertical pole, string, or wire you provide. By running simple vertical twine from your balcony railing up to the ceiling, the beans will rapidly ascend, weaving a beautiful, vibrant green wall. This tight canopy acts as a highly effective living sunscreen, lowering the ambient temperature of your outdoor space while keeping the bean pods perfectly shaded and tender. For your container strategy, a 10-gallon pot or a long, narrow railing trough is ideal. The ultimate expert hack to guarantee a massive yield is biological inoculation. Before you plant the seeds, you coat them in an organic inoculant powder containing rhizobia bacteria. This beneficial bacteria attaches to the roots and allows the plant to literally pull nitrogen out of the air to feed itself. This completely eliminates the need for expensive chemical fertilizers and supercharges the vertical growth. The harvest payoff is nothing short of an avalanche of food. Pole beans are incredibly adaptable, performing beautifully as a summer crop in USDA hardiness zones 3 through 11. You will start harvesting in just 60 to 65 days. The yield is practically limitless because of their biology. The more you pick, the more flowers the plant produces. You will be harvesting handfuls of crisp, stringless green beans every single week until the first frost. They are the ultimate summer side dish, perfect for tossing in olive oil and throwing directly onto a hot backyard grill. Coming in at number 7 are traditional vining cucumbers, the crisp, refreshing cornerstone of every single summer salad. Growing cucumbers on a small balcony usually ends in disaster because most beginners let the vines sprawl across the floor. When cucumber leaves sit on damp concrete or wet potting soil, they immediately fall victim to powdery mildew, rot, and aggressive soil-borne pests. By utilizing vertical vining varieties like the classic Marketmore, you completely eliminate these ground-level diseases and transform a sprawling mess into a highly organized vertical food factory. The vertical mechanics of these cucumbers rely on incredibly strong, spring-like tendrils that shoot out from the main stem, wrapping tightly around any trellis netting or metal fencing. As the vine climbs, it elevates the massive broad leaves into the air. This elevated canopy maximizes airflow, keeping the leaves dry and disease-free, while simultaneously creating a lush living sunscreen that casts a deep, cool shadow across your balcony. Most importantly, gravity ensures the cucumbers hang straight down in the open air, preventing the yellow ground spots and rot that ruin traditional harvests. Your container strategy requires a heavy 7 to 10-gallon pot to retain moisture during the blistering August afternoons. The critical expert hack for vertical cucumbers is aggressive bottom pruning. Once the vine has successfully climbed a few feet up the trellis, you must take a pair of sterile scissors and cut off all the leaves within the first 12 inches of the soil line. This completely severs the disease bridge, preventing any fungal spores in the dirt from splashing up onto the leaves when you water the pot. The harvest payoff guarantees you will never buy a watery grocery store cucumber again. They thrive exceptionally well across USDA hardiness zones 4 through 11. With a fast maturity rate, you will be pulling crisp fruits off the vine in exactly 55 to 65 days. The yield from a single vertical vine is massive, easily providing 20 to 30 perfect cucumbers. Walking out to your shaded balcony to snap a perfectly hydrated, sun-warmed cucumber right off the vine is the ultimate reward of the midsummer urban garden. At number 6, we have the cucamelon, the undisputed darling of garden social media and an absolute must-grow for anyone with kids. This plant is a viral sensation for a good reason. It produces hundreds of fruits that look exactly like perfectly striped, microscopic watermelons, but when you pop them in your mouth, they taste like a crisp cucumber with a bright, refreshing squeeze of lime. It is an incredibly fun, exotic, and high-yielding crop that completely changes the dynamic of your balcony garden, offering maximum entertainment value with zero effort. The vertical mechanics of the cucamelon make it the perfect candidate for delicate apartment setups. Unlike heavy gourds or massive tomatoes, the vines of the cucamelon are incredibly thin, lightweight, and fragile-looking. They will not pull down a flimsy trellis or damage rental property fixtures. They weave their delicate tendrils through fine netting, creating a beautiful, lacy living sunscreen. This creates a beautifully dappled, filtered light effect on your balcony, providing gentle shade without plunging your apartment into total darkness. For the container strategy, their lightweight nature means you only need a standard 5-gallon pot, but the true expert cheat code for cucamelons lies beneath the soil. While everyone treats them as an annual, they actually develop a thick, radish-like tuber under the dirt. At the end of the summer, instead of throwing the plant away, you can dig up this tuber, store it in a cool, dark closet over the winter, and replant it the following spring. This hack gives you a massive, explosive head start on the growing season. The harvest payoff is an absolute blast. They are grown as annuals in cooler regions, but act as returning perennials in USD, a hardiness zones 7 through 10. The harvest time hits around 65 to 75 days. The yield is absolutely staggering. A single delicate vine will produce hundreds of these grape-sized fruits. You do not need to peel them or prep them. You simply pluck them off the living sunscreen and eat them whole like candy. Or toss them into a jar with some garlic and dill for the most unique, bite-sized pickles you have ever tasted. We have seen viral sensations and space-saving vines, but as we enter our top 5, we are moving into the absolute heavyweights. These are the plants that will completely drop the jaws of anyone who walks onto your balcony. We are talking about suspending massive, heavy autumn harvests entirely in midair and unleashing the undisputed king of the container garden. If you want maximum food production and the ultimate living sunscreen, these final 5 are the only plants you will ever need. Let's bring it home. At number 5, we introduce miniature pumpkins, a plant that allows you to capture the absolute magic of the American autumn right on a tiny apartment balcony. When most people think of growing pumpkins for Halloween or Thanksgiving, they picture massive, sprawling suburban fields taking up hundreds of square feet. The idea of growing pumpkins on a high-rise patio seems impossible until you discover miniature vining varieties like Jack B. Little. By utilizing these genetically scaled-down vines, you can bring the ultimate festive harvest to your urban space without sacrificing a single inch of your precious floor plan. The vertical mechanics of miniature pumpkins are a masterpiece of biological engineering. Unlike giant pumpkins that require the ground to support their massive weight, these thin, wiry vines are perfectly designed to climb. They use tight tendrils to grasp onto balcony railing grids or overhead netting. As they pull themselves upward, their iconic, deeply lobed leaves overlap to create a dense, highly effective living sunscreen. But the true magic happens when the fruits develop. Because these pumpkins max out at just half a pound, the vines are strong enough to suspend them completely in midair, creating a floating canopy of brilliant orange globes above your seating area. For your container strategy, you will need a 10-gallon pot to provide enough moisture to sustain the rapid growth. The ultimate balcony hack for these miniature vines is extreme vertical training. Do not let a single vine touch the floor. As soon as the plant throws out a runner, you must weave it upward into your trellis. By keeping the vines and the fruits entirely airborne, you eliminate the risk of soil-borne rot and keep your balcony floor completely clean and usable for your patio furniture. The harvest payoff is incredibly satisfying and perfectly timed for the holidays. Miniature pumpkins are a fantastic summer to fall crop that thrives across USDA hardiness zones 3 through 11. When planted in midsummer, they have a harvest time of 90 to 95 days, meaning your balcony will be loaded with bright orange pumpkins just in time for October. The yield is surprisingly high. A single vertical vine can easily produce 8 to 12 perfect little pumpkins. They are absolutely stunning as holiday decorations, and because the flesh is incredibly sweet, you can roast them whole and stuff them with wild rice for a high-end gourmet autumn dinner. Coming in at number 4 is vining butternut squash, the quintessential comfort food of the American fall season, completely reimagined for the urban container garden. Butternut squash is famous for making the rich, creamy soups that define autumn, but traditional varieties are notorious garden hogs, sending out vines that can easily swallow a 20-foot yard. The solution for the balcony gardener is to force this sprawling monster into the sky. By carefully selecting aggressive vining varieties and giving them the right infrastructure, you can suspend a massive, heavy winter harvest directly above your head, saving 100% of your floor space. The vertical mechanics of butternut squash require serious respect and heavy-duty preparation. This plant produces thick tubular vines and massive umbrella-like leaves. When trained up a rigid metal grid or a heavy wooden trellis, these giant leaves create the ultimate living sunscreen, casting a deep, cooling shadow that can drop the temperature of your balcony by 10 degrees. However, unlike miniature pumpkins, a mature butternut squash is incredibly heavy. The vine itself cannot support the weight of the hanging fruit without ripping entirely off the trellis. This brings us to your container strategy and the most important expert hack on this list, the melon hammock. You will need a massive 15 to 20 gallon pot to fuel this plant. Once the squash begins to form and swell in midair, you must create a sling using old pantyhose, t-shirts, or specialized netting. You tie this hammock directly to the structural metal of your balcony rail or heavy trellis, allowing the hammock to cradle the heavy fruit. This takes all the weight off the vine, allowing the squash to grow to a massive size while suspended safely in the air. The harvest payoff is heavy, highly nutritious, and incredibly long-lasting. Butternut squash loves the long, hot summers of USDA hardiness zones 3 through 11. It is a marathon crop, requiring a harvest time of 100 to 110 days. While the yield may seem smaller, usually 4 to 5 large squashes per vine, the actual weight of the food produced is massive. The greatest benefit of this crop is its incredible storage capacity. Once harvested in the late fall, the thick, tan skin allows you to store them in your apartment pantry for up to 6 months, giving you homegrown food all winter long. At number 3, we have vining zucchini, a brilliant spatial cheat code that completely revolutionizes the most popular summer vegetable in America. Zucchini is a mandatory staple for backyard barbecues, but standard bush zucchini is an absolute nightmare for apartment gardeners. A single bush variety will rapidly expand to the size of a tractor tire, completely eating up your entire balcony floor and leaving no room for you to even stand. Vining zucchini varieties, like the legendary Tromboncino or Black Forest, flip the script entirely. They abandon the horizontal bush shape and instead climb aggressively skyward, handing you a massive harvest from a tiny footprint. The vertical mechanics of this plant solve almost every disease problem associated with standard zucchini. By tying the thick main stem to a sturdy wooden pole or a heavy iron trellis, you force the giant, prehistoric-looking leaves upward. This towering green column acts as a fantastic living sunscreen for the corner of your patio. More importantly, by elevating the plant, you maximize wind airflow around the leaves, completely eradicating the powdery mildew that usually destroys zucchini. Furthermore, because the fruits hang straight down from the vertical stem, they never touch the wet potting soil, ensuring they grow perfectly straight and never rot. Your container strategy requires a heavy 10 to 15 gallon pot. The expert hack for vining zucchini is a technique called aggressive lower pruning. As the vine climbs up your pole and sets fruit, the older leaves at the bottom of the plant near the dirt will start to fade. You must take a sharp knife and completely cut off all the leaves below the lowest hanging fruit. This creates a bare stem at the bottom, which pushes all the plant's energy up into the new growth and makes it entirely impossible for soil-borne pests to climb up into your canopy. The harvest payoff is famous for being overwhelmingly abundant. Vining zucchini is incredibly vigorous in USD, a hardiness zones 3 through 11. It offers a blisteringly fast harvest time of just 50 to 60 days. The yield is legendary. A single climbing vine can easily produce 20 to 30 large zucchinis over the summer, practically forcing you to give food away to your neighbors. You will have a perpetual daily supply of fresh, crisp summer squash to slice thick, brush with olive oil, and throw directly onto your balcony grill. Coming in at number 2 is the winged bean, an exotic masterpiece often referred to as the one-plant supermarket. When you are gardening on a highly restricted apartment balcony, your biggest priority is maximizing utility. You cannot afford to grow plants that only offer one edible part. The winged bean is a breathtaking tropical climbing vine where literally every single piece of the plant is edible and highly nutritious. It brings an incredible, otherworldly aesthetic to your patio while functioning as an unstoppable vertical food factory. The vertical mechanics of this plant are built to dominate blistering summer heat and oppressive humidity. As it tightly twines its way up your balcony netting, it rapidly builds a massive wall of vibrant foliage. This thick canopy creates a formidable living sunscreen, completely blocking harsh afternoon UV rays from baking your apartment windows. The true visual spectacle happens when it blooms. The vine erupts with striking pale blue flowers that eventually transform into long, jagged pods with 4 distinct frilly wings running down their sides. For your container strategy, you will need a sturdy 10-gallon pot to support its aggressive growth and extensive root system. The ultimate expert balcony hack is fully exploiting its complete edibility to save space. While you wait for the alien-like pods to form, you do not just sit around. You can aggressively prune the tender young leaves and sauté them exactly like spinach. You can even harvest the delicate blue blossoms, which surprisingly taste like fresh mushrooms, to visually elevate your summer salads. The harvest payoff is staggering in its versatility. The winged bean loves intense heat, thriving perfectly in USDA hardiness zones 9 through 11 as a perennial, and acts as a vigorous summer annual in cooler zones 4 through 8. You are looking at a harvest time of 75 to 85 days. The yield is exceptionally high, providing dozens of crunchy, high-protein pods perfect for hot stir-fries. But the ultimate reward comes when the season ends. Before throwing the dead vine away, you can dig into the potting soil and harvest the tuberous roots, which pack significantly more protein than standard potatoes. Securing the crown at number 1 is the indeterminate cherry tomato, the undisputed heavyweight champion of the American balcony garden. If you only have space for exactly one pot on your patio, this is the only plant you should ever consider. The word indeterminate is the secret to its dominance. While determinate bush tomatoes grow to a specific height, produce one batch of fruit, and die, an indeterminate vine literally never stops growing. It will continue to climb, flower, and pump out sugary sweet tomatoes every single day until the winter snow finally kills it. The vertical mechanics of this plant are awe-inspiring. These vines can easily reach 10 to 12 feet in length. You must provide them with a tall, rigid stake, a heavy trellis, or a vertical string dropped from the ceiling. As you tie the main stem to the support, the plant rapidly builds a towering, dense wall of foliage. This massive canopy is the ultimate living sunscreen, completely shielding your apartment from the brutal afternoon glare. Walking out onto your balcony and being surrounded by a towering, fragrant wall of tomato leaves and glowing red fruit is the absolute pinnacle of urban container gardening. Your container strategy requires a large, deep, 10 to 15-gallon pot. The absolute greatest expert hack for planting tomatoes happens on day 1, deep trenching. When you buy your tomato seedling, do not plant it at the same depth it was in its nursery cup. You must strip off the bottom leaves and bury the stem as deeply as possible into the potting soil, right up to its top leaves. The buried stem will instantly shoot out thousands of new roots, creating a massive, indestructible root system that will easily pump water up a 10-foot vertical vine during the hottest days of August. The harvest payoff is the greatest reward in all of container gardening. Indeterminate cherry tomatoes are highly adaptable, thriving as a heavy summer crop in USD, hardiness zones 3 through 11. Depending on the variety, like the famous Sun Gold, harvest time begins at just 60 to 70 days after planting. The yield is genuinely unbelievable. A single vertical vine will produce hundreds, sometimes thousands of bite-sized tomatoes over the course of the season. They are so incredibly sweet that they taste like sun-warmed candy, giving you an endless premium harvest that will completely transform the way you cook, eat, and live in your apartment. That wraps up our list of the 15 climbing vegetables to turn your tiny balcony into a towering food forest. Which of these vertical crops are you planting first? Let me know in the comments below, along with what gardening challenges you want me to tackle next. But please don't go anywhere just yet, because our masterclass is far from over. You now possess the exact blueprint to conquer limited space. By guiding your plants upward, you have successfully unlocked the true agricultural potential of your small balcony or patio. But optimizing your square footage is only the foundation. Once you have created the room to grow, a deeper question remains. How do you use that space to fundamentally change the way you live? A beautiful vertical garden is a quiet victory. But what if your outdoor space could do more than just provide a few fresh ingredients for a weekend dinner? What if it could reliably replace your weekly grocery bill? Right now, we are shifting our focus from spatial design to sovereign food production. Let's dive directly into the 15 high-yielding container vegetables that will transform your quiet backyard or balcony into a highly productive, organic mini supermarket. Let's look at our first crop. We kick off our grocery list at number 15 with radishes. If you are deeply tired of paying for those sad, rubbery bunches of radishes sitting endlessly under the harsh fluorescent lights of the supermarket, it is truly time to grow your own. Homegrown radishes bring a sudden pop of brilliant, ruby red color and a lush, vibrant green canopy that instantly makes your patio look like a thriving, abundant farm rather than a sterile concrete slab. These remarkable little root vegetables are the absolute sprinters of the botanical world, acting as a high-speed biological engine for your mini supermarket. From the exact moment you drop the tiny seeds into the warm soil, it takes an astonishingly brief 25 days to produce a fully mature, perfectly crisp root. This rapid turnaround allows you to aggressively succession plant, sowing new seeds every week to guarantee a continuous, unbroken harvest all season long without any gaps in production. Because radishes possess extremely shallow root systems, the optimal container strategy requires a long, shallow rectangular window box made of durable resin. There is absolutely no need to waste expensive potting soil filling deep pots for a root that only grows 2 inches long. A wide, shallow planter strictly maximizes your horizontal surface area, allowing you to space the seeds perfectly in neat, highly productive rows while maintaining excellent soil drainage to prevent the roots from splitting. Within a month, you will be pulling these crisp, peppery jewels directly from the earth, completely bypassing the grocery store checkout line. Slicing them paper thin over a thick piece of heavily buttered artisan sourdough toast, finished with a pinch of flaky sea salt, provides a gourmet, zero food miles breakfast. It is a deeply satisfying culinary experience that no grocery store produce can ever replicate, proving that the fastest way to fresh food is through your own backyard. Coming in at number 14 are baby carrots. We have all been relentlessly conditioned to buy those perfectly uniform, completely flavorless bags of baby carrots that have been whittled down by industrial machines and washed in chlorine solutions. Growing your own reveals a completely different, highly romantic aesthetic. You cultivate soft, swaying, fern-like green tops that contrast beautifully against the dark, rich soil, quietly hiding deeply vibrant, glowing orange roots just beneath the surface of your container. Carrots are an incredibly efficient use of limited patio space, acting as a powerful biological engine that converts sunlight into dense, highly nutritious starches. As the late summer weather gradually cools into autumn, the plant's biology works incredibly in your favor. The cool soil naturally converts those stored starches into pure, concentrated sugars as a defense mechanism against frost. This makes your homegrown carrots taste like absolute, vibrant candy compared to their bland, watery, store-bought counterparts. To achieve perfectly straight carrots, you absolutely must utilize a deep 10-gallon fabric grow bag. Carrots absolutely despise hitting the hard, impermeable bottom of a standard plastic or ceramic pot, which inevitably causes them to permanently deform, twist, and fork. The deep, breathable fabric allows the delicate taproot to stretch straight down into uncompacted, fluffy soil, while simultaneously ensuring impeccable drainage, preventing the roots from rotting in stagnant water after a heavy summer rainstorm. The harvest is one of the most nostalgic and deeply poetic rituals of the entire garden season. You will gently brush away the dark soil to reveal flawlessly crisp, sweet roots that are so incredibly tender they require absolutely no peeling. Just a quick rinse under the outdoor spigot, and they are ready to be roasted whole in a cast iron skillet with fresh thyme and local honey for a cozy, rustic, self-sufficient dinner straight from the patio. At number 13, we have the indispensable sweet basil. Buying fresh herbs at the local supermarket is undeniably one of the most frustrating financial traps. You pay a massive premium for a tiny plastic clamshell, only to watch the delicate leaves turn black and slimy in your refrigerator just 2 days later. Cultivating a mature basil plant on your patio provides a lush, highly fragrant architectural masterpiece that completely eliminates this relentless, expensive cycle of food waste. Basil is an incredibly aggressive, heat-loving engine of pure foliage production. By strictly and consistently pinching off the top cluster of leaves, you trigger a powerful biological response that forces the plant to branch outward. Instead of growing into a single, spindly stalk, it transforms into a massive, dense, bushy canopy. This regenerative growth habit means it continuously produces fresh, intensely flavored leaves significantly faster than you or your family can reasonably consume them during the summer. The absolute best container for growing thriving basil is a classic, unglazed, heavy terracotta pot. Basil loves immense warmth, but absolutely hates sitting in soggy, poorly drained, waterlogged soil. The naturally porous, breathable nature of natural clay effortlessly wicks excess moisture away from the root zone. This prevents devastating root rot and naturally creates the perfectly warm, slightly dry microclimate that this classic Mediterranean herb craves to produce its highest concentration of essential aromatic oils. Having this vibrant plant situated just steps away from your kitchen grants you the ultimate sense of culinary freedom. You will find yourself stepping outside on a warm, golden evening, mindfully snipping large handfuls of intensely aromatic leaves and bringing them straight to the cutting board. Blending them with pine nuts, garlic, and rich olive oil into an emerald green pesto provides a luxurious, zero food miles meal that captures the absolute essence of a slow, abundant summer life. Number 12 is the highly versatile green onion. This is the quintessential everyday culinary staple that you constantly find yourself rushing back to the grocery store to buy, almost always wrapped tightly in unnecessary, wasteful plastic. Growing them at home creates a sharp, brilliant green vertical contrast to the soft, heavily spreading leaves of your other crops. They effortlessly add a touch of clean, modern, structural geometry to your patio space while saving you money every single week. They are rugged, highly resilient, and arguably the most productive cut-and-come-again crop in existence. Their unique biology allows them to safely store immense amounts of energy in their shallow white bulb base beneath the soil. When you sharply snip the green tops for a meal, the plant does not die. Instead, it immediately goes to work, aggressively pushing out fresh, vibrant new green growth in a matter of days, providing a truly perpetual, unstoppable harvest cycle. Because of their surprisingly shallow, tightly clustered root systems, green onions thrive beautifully in long, narrow composite or resin planters. You can pack dozens of these slender plants tightly together without causing any detrimental competition for nutrients. The sleek, elongated lines of a modern rectangular planter perfectly complement their straight, upright architectural form, allowing you to create a highly productive wall of green that takes up almost zero horizontal space on your crowded deck railing. This container quickly becomes your dedicated, perpetual garnish station. Whenever you are slowly simmering a warm, comforting bowl of soup, baking a loaded potato, or simply preparing a quick weekend breakfast, a 10-second trip to the patio with a pair of scissors provides a bright burst of fresh, sharp flavor. You completely eliminate the need to ever buy them again, firmly establishing a small but significant piece of financial independence right outside your kitchen door. Coming in at number 11 are gorgeous garlic chives. If you truly want to elevate your home cooking with premium ingredients, this herb is an absolute must-have that is surprisingly difficult and expensive to find fresh in standard grocery stores. They grow in a dense, grassy, dark green clump that adds incredible texture to your garden. By late summer, they produce stunning, star-shaped white flowers that look breathtaking swaying in the breeze, attracting beneficial pollinators to your patio. This remarkable plant is a hardy, relentless perennial food engine. It focuses the vast majority of its early energy into developing a massive, incredibly resilient underground root structure. This specific biological adaptation means it will happily survive harsh, freezing winter temperatures under a blanket of snow. Once spring arrives, it aggressively pushes up completely new, densely packed, flavor-filled shoots year after year with absolutely zero effort, planting, or ongoing maintenance required on your part. A wide, relatively shallow, beautifully glazed ceramic bowl is the absolute perfect home for a thriving clump of garlic chives. The heavy ceramic material holds moisture exceptionally well, which these shallow-rooted plants highly prefer. Meanwhile, the wide circular opening allows the central clump to naturally expand, divide, and multiply its yield over the years. Visually, the beautiful, reflective glaze of the ceramic pot perfectly offsets the delicate, matte, grassy texture of the towering herb. You will very quickly find this to be the most heavily utilized, versatile ingredient in your entire mini supermarket. The flat, tender green leaves carry a profound, savory, deeply aromatic garlic flavor that instantly enhances everything you cook. From elevating a simple, quiet morning omelet to bringing authentic depth to a complex, slow-cooked evening stir-fry, these chives provide restaurant-quality flavor, harvested at their absolute peak freshness without ever forcing you to leave the comfort of your home. From the rapid-fire harvests of radishes to the perennial power of garlic chives, we have established the essential flavors of your patio grocery store. But as we break into our top 10, we are shifting our focus to the foundational staples, the nutrient-dense leafy greens that form the base of your daily meals. Before we look at an incredibly crisp, cool-weather superfood, I would love to hear from you. How much are you currently spending on fresh produce every week? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you are ready to take control of your food supply, make sure to hit that subscribe button to support the channel. Now, let's stock the produce aisle, starting at number 10. We proudly feature spinach. We have all experienced the deep frustration and guilt of throwing away half a plastic tub of incredibly expensive, slimy organic spinach that spoiled too quickly. Growing it yourself offers a quiet, deeply grounding aesthetic. You cultivate a single, beautiful pot overflowing with rich, dark green, glossy, spade-shaped leaves that brings a profound feeling of deep, organic nourishment and vibrant life to your relaxing outdoor living space. Spinach is a highly efficient, fast-growing, cool weather crop that despises the extreme heat of midsummer. By strategically growing it in the brisk temperatures of early spring or late fall, the plant happily channels its energy into producing dense, highly vitamin-rich leaves rather than bolting to flower. Utilizing the continuous cut-and-come-again harvesting method signals the plant's biology to endlessly push rapid, fresh new growth directly from its central crown, multiplying your overall yield dramatically. A wide, shallow window box made of durable composite material or dark resin is the absolute ideal choice here. Spinach roots do not dive particularly deep into the earth, but they passionately love to spread horizontally across the surface. The composite material retains the cool, consistent moisture that spinach desperately loves, while the long, elongated shape gives you ample, highly efficient surface area to meticulously harvest row after row of tender leaves without wasting deep soil. As the beautiful leaves fully mature in the crisp, cool autumn air, they become incredibly tender and are densely packed with vital iron and essential nutrients. You will find immense joy in harvesting handful by handful of these sweet, delicate leaves for your slow, highly mindful mornings. Blending them into fresh, vibrant green smoothies or tossing them into a warm, deeply comforting harvest salad right on your patio completely redefines the concept of farm-to-table dining. Number 9 on our list is the spectacular Swiss chard. If you strongly desire to replace expensive grocery store cooking greens while simultaneously cultivating a breathtaking masterpiece of natural art, this is undeniably your plant. The massive, glossy green, deeply veined leaves are gracefully supported by stunning, stained glass stems in brilliant shades of fiery crimson, bright gold, neon pink, and deep magenta that physically light up your entire backyard when the afternoon sun hits them. Swiss chard is a true, undisputed biological powerhouse in the container garden. It is remarkably heat-tolerant compared to delicate spinach, yet incredibly cold-hardy when autumn frosts arrive. This unique resilience means a single, well-timed planting acts as a relentless, unstoppable food machine. It provides continuous, heavy, highly nutritious harvests for over 8 full months of the year without ever needing to be replanted, offering an absolutely staggering return on your initial seed investment. A large, heavy, beautifully glazed ceramic pot is highly recommended for supporting this massive plant. The thick walls of the heavy ceramic provide excellent thermal mass, acting as an insulating blanket that keeps the delicate root zone completely stable during wild, unpredictable temperature swings. Visually, choosing a deep cobalt blue or a rustic earthy green glaze provides a breathtaking, highly contrasting backdrop that forces those neon, jewel-toned chard stems to pop with undeniable, electric visual intensity. Within a few short weeks, you will be walking out to your sunlit porch to gently clip these vibrant, incredibly crisp stalks. They bring an unbelievable burst of brilliant color and a mild, deeply sweet or earthy crunch to your cozy family dinners. They perfectly and completely replace the need for expensive, store-bought leafy greens in your rustic autumn soups, hearty stews, and warm sautés, saving you money while dramatically elevating the visual appeal of your food. Coming in at number 8 is the highly celebrated superfood kale. Consistently purchasing high-quality, organic kale at the supermarket represents a heavy, ongoing financial burden. However, growing it yourself instantly transforms your modest patio into a high-end, premium organic market. Its deeply blistered, highly textured, architectural blue-green leaves stand exceptionally tall and majestic, bringing a statuesque, almost prehistoric, deeply captivating beauty to the structural foundation of your entire container garden aesthetic. Kale is virtually indestructible and biologically designed to survive extreme adversity. Its remarkable biology allows it to aggressively thrive in the blistering summer heat and actively sweeten when brutally hit by freezing winter snow. It focuses all its immense energy into massive, continuous leaf production. This allows you to mindfully harvest the lower, mature leaves week after week, while the central crown keeps reaching tirelessly for the sky, generating a seemingly impossible volume of food. Because it is a notoriously heavy feeder that eventually grows into a massive, top-heavy plant, it absolutely demands a large 10 to 15 gallon heavy-duty fabric grow bag. The incredibly breathable fabric naturally air prunes the extensive, aggressive root system. This prevents the roots from hopelessly circling and choking the plant, ensuring the towering kale has the massive, healthy, fibrous root system it desperately needs to securely anchor and nutritionally support its towering, heavy green canopy. This is a profound agricultural investment that pays you daily, highly nutritious dividends. You will routinely practice the slow-living, mindful ritual of carefully breaking off the largest, darkest leaves one by one all season long. These hardy, deeply flavorful leaves are absolutely perfect for gently massaging into fresh, vibrant, nutrient-dense salads or slowly baking into crispy, guilt-free kale chips in your warm oven, providing ultimate organic luxury for mere pennies. At number 7, we have highly productive bush cucumbers. Standard store-bought cucumbers are typically heavily coated in an unnatural, shiny, edible wax just to survive grueling cross-country shipping routes, heavily masking a bland, severely watery flavor. Growing a compact bush variety directly on your patio offers a vibrant, lush, sprawling canopy of oversized green leaves, beautifully dotted with bright, cheerful yellow flowers, and hanging, incredibly crisp, bright green fruit that looks genuinely spectacular. Unlike traditional, aggressive vining cucumbers that require massive, highly complicated, and space-consuming wooden trellises, bush varieties are specifically genetically bred to be compact, high-yield food engines. They completely bypass the need for excessive vine growth, pouring all their biological energy directly into developing dozens of crunchy, heavy fruits on very short, dense branches. This efficiently turns a remarkably small patio footprint into a highly concentrated, incredibly lucrative point of organic food production. A heavy-duty 5-gallon thick plastic resin pot, smartly equipped with a small, highly supportive circular metal tomato cage, is the absolute perfect environment. The heavy plastic resin effectively holds the deep, consistent moisture that cucumbers desperately need to remain crisp and prevent bitter flavors from developing. Meanwhile, the small metal cage gently supports the branches, keeping the heavy developing fruit cleanly elevated off the damp soil, preventing rot and maximizing crucial airflow. The ultimate reward is unmatched, explosive crunch and profound, refreshing hydration. You will happily pluck perfectly ripe, beautifully sun-warmed cucumbers straight from the thick stem. Because they are homegrown, there is absolutely no waxy, bitter skin to painstakingly peel away. You simply slice them directly into your vibrant summer salads or drop thick slices into a cold pitcher of ice water for the ultimate, profoundly refreshing afternoon drink on a sweltering summer day. Number 6 is the deeply luxurious, visually striking eggplant. Perfect, unblemished organic eggplants are incredibly expensive and highly prone to devastating bruising on crowded grocery store shelves. When grown in a sunny container, they are arguably the most beautiful vegetable in the entire garden. They boast soft, velvety, purple-tinged leaves and bear incredibly sleek, glossy, jewel-like dark purple fruits that look exactly like high-end, meticulously polished ornaments hanging gracefully from sturdy, dark stems. Eggplants are biological heat seekers of the highest order. They require immense, relentless warmth to properly fuel the aggressive production of their dense, incredibly heavy fruits. When their intense thermal needs are finally met, they act as highly efficient producers. They offer a rich, profoundly meaty texture that naturally serves as a fantastic, deeply satisfying, and highly filling substitute for expensive meats in a vegetarian, entirely self-sufficient, slow-living culinary kitchen. They absolutely thrive best in a large, heavy, unglazed terracotta pot or a remarkably thick-walled, dark resin tub placed deliberately in the absolute hottest, sunniest corner of your patio. The thick, dense walls aggressively absorb the intense, unforgiving daytime sun. They then slowly and steadily radiate that essential, deeply trapped heat directly into the root zone throughout the cool night, perfectly replicating their native, sweltering tropical environment to maximize explosive fruit development. Harvesting a flawless, heavy, incredibly glossy eggplant from your own quiet patio is a moment of pure, unadulterated culinary triumph. Slicing through the dense, sponge-like flesh to slowly create a rich, bubbling, heavily sauced, slow-baked eggplant parmesan provides a deeply comforting, high-end, restaurant-quality meal. Knowing this entire masterpiece was sourced entirely from a single pot in your peaceful backyard completely redefines the concept of luxury dining and absolute food independence. We have just explored some of the most beautiful and rewarding crops you can grow. But as we officially cross into our top 5, the stakes get much higher. We are leaving the standard vegetables behind and entering the elite class of container gardening. These final 5 plants are the undisputed heavyweights of the backyard supermarket. We are talking about relentless, high-speed food machines that will literally replace your weekly grocery hauls. If you thought a container garden couldn't reliably feed a family, prepare to have your mind completely changed. Let's enter the top 5, starting with an absolute summer staple. Breaking into our prestigious top 5, we have vibrant bell peppers. Buying perfectly ripe, wildly colorful organic bell peppers constantly feels like a massive luxury purchase, often costing several dollars for a single pepper. Growing them yourself is an absolute visual delight. The plant rapidly becomes a sturdy, vibrant green, miniature tree heavily laden with bright, shiny, blocky fruits that slowly, miraculously transition from deep green to brilliant, glowing shades of red, yellow, or bright orange. The ultimate biological secret to the bell pepper's massive productivity is immense patience paired with unrelenting heat. The plant cautiously first builds a strong, woody framework before aggressively pouring all its stored energy into swelling the fruit. As the peppers sit patiently on the vine and change color, their biological makeup drastically shifts, dramatically increasing their vitamin C content and replacing any harsh, bitter compounds with pure, incredibly complex, mouth-watering sweetness. A standard, incredibly basic, 5-gallon black plastic nursery pot is actually an incredible, highly functional, expert choice here. The dark black plastic actively acts as a powerful, relentless thermal battery. It aggressively absorbs the intense summer sun to keep the trapped soil incredibly warm. This intense, constant root heat is the precise, absolutely vital biological trigger the plant desperately needs to successfully push the heavy peppers to fully ripen and completely change color. You will completely and permanently stop buying overpriced, heavily traveled peppers. Walking out to your quiet deck to forcefully snap a heavy, perfectly ripe, beautifully sun-warmed red pepper off the thick stem is a deeply satisfying, grounding ritual. They are incredibly crisp, actively dripping with sweet, flavorful juice, and are instantly ready to be deeply roasted over an open, roaring flame to heavily elevate your summer fajitas and vibrant weekend barbecues, proving that the absolute best ingredients are grown, not bought. At number 4 are the incredibly prolific bush beans. If your only culinary experience with green beans is the soggy, heavily muted, painfully dull versions found in aluminum grocery store cans, you are missing out on a revelation. A container of bush beans rapidly creates a lush, highly textured, beautifully rounded canopy of soft green leaves. This canopy is soon dotted with delicate, intricate white and purple blossoms that quickly transform into hundreds of slender, brilliantly crisp green pods. Bush beans are truly the ultimate, highly advanced, self-sustaining food machine. Through a brilliant, incredibly complex symbiotic relationship with natural soil bacteria, they actually possess the ability to pull essential nitrogen directly from the surrounding air, literally manufacturing their own high-quality fertilizer. They grow with shocking, explosive speed, offering a massive, highly concentrated harvest that completely and utterly overwhelms the container in just under 60 days, providing a massive return on investment. A wide, elongated rectangular plastic trough or a beautifully rustic, large, shallow wooden half-barrel is the absolute ideal strategy. Beans have relatively shallow root systems, but desperately need ample horizontal space to freely spread their dense, bushy canopy. This wide, highly open container style deliberately allows you to plant them very densely, creating a thick, highly productive microclimate that heavily shades the soil, conserves precious water, and dramatically multiplies your final harvest yield. The ultimate harvest is incredibly abundant and deeply, profoundly rewarding. You will happily find yourself sitting peacefully on your porch, gently parting the soft leaves to uncover massive, heavy clusters of incredibly crisp, snapping fresh beans. Sautéed very lightly in a hot pan with a touch of crushed garlic and a heavy squeeze of fresh lemon, they offer a bright, explosive, snapping texture that completely and permanently redefines what a fresh green bean should actually taste like. Coming in at number 3 are the indispensable, heavily sustaining potatoes. Buying heavy, dirt-covered, plastic-wrapped bags of expensive potatoes that often prematurely rot in the dark corners of your pantry is a frustrating chore. Growing them at home is an absolute, deeply fulfilling revelation. Above ground, they rapidly produce a sprawling, beautiful, deep green bush adorned with delicate flowers, completely and masterfully hiding the massive, starchy, highly valuable treasure swelling silently just beneath the rich soil. Potatoes are incredibly efficient, profoundly powerful calorie generators for the self-sufficient home. A single, humble seed potato brilliantly utilizes the dark, loose, highly organic environment of a deep container to endlessly push out underground stems, biologically known as stolons. This results in a massive, aggressive multiplication of tubers. They actively provide dense, highly filling, and incredibly nutritious sustenance, definitively making them the ultimate, unshakable pillar of a reliable, self-sufficient, grocery-replacing container garden. You absolutely and unconditionally must use a highly breathable, deep, 15-gallon fabric grow bag for this specific crop. Hard plastic pots will inevitably trap water and completely rot the tubers, but the thick, porous fabric ensures perfect, life-saving airflow and flawless drainage. More importantly, when it is finally time to harvest, the flexible, lightweight bag allows you to simply tip it completely over, completely eliminating the painful, back-breaking labor of digging blindly with a heavy steel shovel. The highly anticipated harvest day is pure, undeniable agricultural magic. It genuinely feels like unearthing hidden, priceless gold. You will excitedly spill the dark, rich soil onto a wide tarp, running your bare hands through the cool earth to excitedly reveal dozens of perfectly smooth, flawless, organic potatoes. Roasting these freshly dug, homegrown beauties yields a profoundly creamy, buttery interior and an impossibly crispy skin that dull, store-bought potatoes can absolutely never, ever hope to achieve. At number 2, we proudly present the legendary, fiercely productive zucchini. If you truly want to see a massive, undeniable return on your financial and physical investment, this is the undisputed king of the patio. It is a visually imposing, highly dramatic plant, prominently featuring massive, prehistoric-looking, deeply lobed leaves and stunning, giant, fully edible golden blossoms. It brings a wildly abundant, beautifully untamed, and deeply lush aesthetic to your otherwise structured outdoor living space. Zucchini is a relentless, high-speed, utterly unstoppable biological engine. Once it successfully begins producing fruit, it aggressively pulls massive, staggering amounts of water and soil nutrients to visibly swell its heavy fruits overnight. A single, highly healthy, well-fed container plant can easily and consistently produce enough dense food to comfortably feed your entire family and still gracefully leave you with a massive, overflowing surplus to generously give away to your amazed friends and neighbors. Because of its massive, unrelenting water and nutrient requirements, a truly massive, oversized container is absolutely mandatory. A 20-gallon heavy resin tub or a thick, heavily insulated wooden half-barrel provides the sheer necessary volume of rich, moisture-retaining compost required to adequately fuel this hungry beast. The heavy, wide container firmly anchors the massive, sail-like canopy against violent summer thunderstorms, while simultaneously holding enough deep water to keep the sprawling plant from severely wilting in the afternoon heat. This incredible plant is the ultimate unrivaled grocery store replacement. You will find yourself excitedly harvesting heavy, absolutely flawless, beautifully glossy green squash every few days. From aggressively grilling thick, heavily charred slices at a vibrant weekend patio barbecue to peacefully baking warm, deeply spiced zucchini bread on a quiet Sunday morning, this single powerful plant effortlessly provides endless, high-quality, profoundly delicious meals sourced straight from your own highly productive backyard supermarket. Securing the absolute, undisputed #1 spot on our mini supermarket list is the incredible, indeterminate cherry tomato. There is genuinely nothing quite as visually stunning or deeply satisfying as a towering, aggressively vining tomato plant heavily laden with massive, cascading trusses of brilliant red, orange, and bright yellow jewels. It perfectly fills the warm, heavy summer air with that highly unmistakable, deeply earthy, profoundly nostalgic tomato vine fragrance that instantly transports you to a simpler time. The crucial botanical term, indeterminate, simply means this aggressive plant has absolutely no biological stop button. It is a continuous, unstoppable, upward vining food factory. It will relentlessly grow taller, continuously produce fresh new blossoms, and aggressively ripen hundreds of intensely sweet fruits every single day. From the very early days of summer until the very first hard, killing frost of brutal winter, it offers the highest absolute yield per square foot of any container plant in existence. To properly and safely support this massive, endless vertical growth, a wide 15-gallon fabric grow bag, expertly paired with a heavy-duty, exceptionally tall metal trellis, is the absolute ultimate setup. The highly breathable fabric bag guarantees the massive root system will continuously air prune, creating thousands of fibrous roots highly capable of rapidly absorbing heavy nutrients. The remarkably sturdy metal trellis expertly manages the wild, towering vines, efficiently turning a chaotic plant into a highly organized wall of fruit. This magnificent plant alone will completely and permanently sever your heavy reliance on the overpriced grocery store produce aisle. You will absolutely never again pay $5 heavily taxed dollars for a sad plastic pint of flavorless, mealy tomatoes. Instead, you will peacefully walk out to your quiet patio every single evening, joyfully plucking beautifully sun-warmed, bursting with juice cherry tomatoes right off the heavy vine, eating them like candy in the ultimate, triumphant expression of the abundant, self-sufficient life. If you enjoyed today's countdown, let us know in the comments which of these crops you're planning to grow this season. We'd also love to hear what vegetables you rely on most for winter storage. And if you want more practical container gardening ideas, seasonal planting guides, and self-sufficiency tips, be sure to subscribe to Slow Living Chill Farm. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.